All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of a Saturday morning product manager resume review with Alex and also my son here making noises in the background. Hopefully, those are not going to distract you too much. Also, I'm going to send him away. Max, please, to the other room with you, if you could. All right. So, hello, everybody, again. Let me just turn this thing off. We are back with StreamYard this morning, which means that we're aiming for 80% less technical difficulties this morning. Let me just say hello to everybody that is waiting in staging area. Thank you very much for joining us. While we're waiting, it would be great if you could go ahead and post, if you have the ability to do so, on LinkedIn with a link to the actual YouTube video chat that we're going to be talking about product management, resume specifically. This stuff is actually generally a pretty expensive service. We're giving it out today and every Saturday morning for free to all you lovely people. Hopefully with the hope of helping you craft your resume. I know how intimidating it can be. And for those folks that are in the industry, to get tips on how to better position your resume for success. Okay, so we're going to get started soon. You know what I should have asked is, can everybody hear me? That's what I usually have to start these things with. I get some nods that everything's okay. All right, good. Some thumbs up, Benita. Thank you very much. And also hello to the folks in chat. By the way, we should probably turn this banner off because we've started. So first of all, hello, Cyrus. Good morning. Benson, hello. Peter, thank you for being with us. Daphne, Rashid, Melissa. Good evening, Melissa. Okay, that's good. We got an evening. Good evening indeed. Okay, I see a lot of folks in staging area, so we're going to get started very soon here. Before we do, of course, if you have not already, make sure to hit the like button. Whether you're in staging area or you're watching, make sure to hit the like button. I want to see, you know how it is, I want to see as many likes as there are people watching. Plus in staging area, by my math, that should be like 25, 26, something like that, just to start with. And also, I am happy to say that we've got the number of subscribers up to 50%, from 45% watching to 50% with your help. So now just go ahead and check if you're not subscribed already. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and we can get started. And I see folks are trying to get into staging area, but we already have 10 people. So we're going to try to go even faster today to see if we can get to all the folks in staging and see if we can get some more folks as well. So let's actually go ahead and kick this off. I see Gina, if you can get your camera working, then we're gonna, oh, there you go, it's working. So let me try to add you to stream here. Here we go. Moment of truth for StreamYard. Gina, hello.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
All right, 1 for 1 so far. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So to start things off, maybe you could just tell us a few words about yourself and what you're looking to get out of the session.
Sure. I just graduated in May from the University of Maryland, College Park, in electrical engineering. I'm currently a software engineer, but I'm trying to pivot to PM.
Excellent. All right. And did you already start a resume? Do you have something to show us today?
Yep.
Awesome. Let's now test the screen sharing. But yes, I've heard good things about StreamYard in general, and let's see how it works. So if you want to share your screen, if it lets you.
Can you see that?
I see it, yeah. And now look at this. We've also got 2 people on the screen at the same time while we're looking. That is definitively better. Okay, Gina, thank you very much. Let me just make that a little bigger so I can see it. Okay, excellent. So you're looking for product management in tech, and we're starting off with just your education because you are a recent graduate. That makes sense. We've got your GPA there as well. Usually I say GPA, if it's high GPA, you can show it. If it's not high or it's not anything that you didn't necessarily want to bring attention to, you don't have to show it. No one really requires that. I mean, some sticklers might, but usually that's not really a big issue. But now let's get into the experience here. So KeyW, wholly owned subsidiary Jacobs, software engineer and intern, Air and Space Division. Okay. All right, so collaborate with engineers, and you're still over there, so that makes sense why you're speaking in the present tense. Mm-hmm. So that rhymed. Collaborate with engineers in agile workflow, continuously met. Okay, so you just, I'm one of the few people that are going to tell you stuff like this, but like try not to combine present and past tense and mixed
Yeah.
tenses. It's just what it does for me is it just kind of takes me out of the experience. So if I'm reading, I might like pay attention to that as opposed to the content, which is what you want me to pay attention to. So the idea is you worked with engineers in agile workflow and you hit the sprint goals by prioritizing, defining tickets. Okay, so this is actually classic. This is classic responsibility stuff. I think it's sort of a good start, and everybody ends up writing this at the beginning. But I would encourage you to think about what exactly happened as a result of you hitting these sprint goals. Probably 70% of these Saturday sessions are me telling people to focus on impact and explain what they did. And I don't think today is going to be any different. It's simultaneously like this thing that we talk about often and sort of we understand it, but it's hard to do. So the way that I recommend to do it is just to think, literally ask yourself what happened as a result of these sprints. Like, what did we do in one sprint, the second sprint, the third sprint? What was the benefit? Like, what was the result? Did something get released? Did something move closer towards release? Was it something that was used by some teams internally or externally?
So I have a question specifically about this experience because I work for like a government contractor. So a lot of the times I can't really say what I do,
okay.
what client work really entails. So yeah, I'm having trouble like defining that impact instead of like talking about my responsibility.
Yeah, top secret stuff. I mean, air and space. That sounds pretty terrifying. Okay, so in these situations, I've actually got I did an interview with an ex-military product manager who I asked about all these things, and you have to, and I think that one of the takeaways in terms of how to show impact when you can't actually say what you did is to talk about relative factors like relative velocities or relative results. So for instance, you can't say what exactly happened, but maybe you can compare it to past events or past results. Like, you exceeded these deliverables, or like the speed with which it was released, or like the deficiency rate, bug rate, something like that. Also, since this is a government situation, you could talk about meeting or setting or exceeding goals, because presumably, I don't know why I'm saying this, but they should have clear goals. I don't know why I think that the government would have clear goals, but at least it's like a more rigid organizational structure usually. And so there's going to be goals set. So let me see what else you have over here. Interact with radar system and an inertial measurement unit on a Raspberry Pi. Okay, using C++ and tools. Okay, so again, that's just something you did. What happened as a result of it? If we can't talk about this awesome thing that happened as a result because it's confidential, then did you build something? Did you move something closer? Did you tighten up some processes? Like, what was the result? Did you investigate something? You can, without saying the thing that you did, you can say like how close you got to it, or what was your pace or relative pace to like the maybe other teams or historical results, stuff like that.
Got it.
Okay, let's glance through software engineering, design, data flow, monitoring, alerting solution. Okay, using open source technologies. So these type of things, like using what type of technologies you used, it's not as relevant for the product manager position. It's more about what you did, why you did it, and what was the result. Because what you did, you're a product manager, you're figuring out what to prioritize it, why, how it aligns with the company or the mission or both. And what was the result is, of course, the impact, because product managers are all about execution and impact. So think about getting rid of stuff. I know that it sort of fills up the resume when you're talking about mentioning these things, and into every bullet you're adding stuff like using these tools or these technologies. But in reality, sometimes it's relevant, but most of the time it kind of is just filler. The question that I usually ask is, what's the message you're trying to convey? And does this piece help you convey it? And if not, then you don't have to add it, or you can remove it.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at path points awarding the healthy digital product design, student designer, about 5 months, scope project, user flows, wireframe prototype, mobile app, roads. Good. This is good. Reward and socialized exercising. That's good. Now let's figure out what's the impact of your actual work. Were you able to get it to launch? Were you able to get some users? Were you able to build some features? Let's think about that stuff, because this is like what you did. You have to get away a little bit from the what you did rather than what system, product, project you moved forward. Why and what was the result? Synthesize peer designers' feedback, solidify product vision. Okay, so yeah, again, these are the type of resumes I think it's a good starting spot. This is where you start. But if you submit this resume, there's likely not much for me to grab onto. There's no numbers, there's no impact. And if you actually think about this, take time, I think you're going to be able to identify some metrics that you can actually demonstrate. And then there's going to be something for me to grab onto so that I can say, yep, yeah, let me actually contact this candidate and have a longer conversation. That's what you're looking to get out of the resume. That's the other thing that I constantly say is you're not looking to get the job, you're just looking to get the callback. And then let's go down a little bit. Leadership. You can scroll down a bit. Quest honors. That's great. Okay, so I'm starting to see some numbers here. A 50,000 benefit over 6 months. Great. That's awesome. Mentor 5 students. Great. Those are great. Leadership and collaboration, cross-functional experience working with people. Amazon Prime student. Oversaw 5-10 brand to help them facilitate successful events and teamwork. Okay, that's good. I would want to know maybe more about those events, why they were meaningful. I think you see where I'm going with all this stuff. My questions are all going to be about the same. So I think this looks pretty good. I definitely like the formatting. It's nice, clean. There's plenty of space. Not too many bullets. A lot of bullets are single line. I think you're on the right track, Gina. Rework for impact. Come back and see me, next week or the week after that, and let's see what happens. Any other questions before we move on?
So I guess one point about the digital product design project that I did, I didn't launch it. This was kind of like a class project, and I didn't end up launching it. But I did add this like overall approval. Do you think that helps in any way in terms of making the impact tangible?
Yep, it does. So that's your proxy metric. I think that's fine. I'm a little unclear of like whose approval of 80%, what exactly that means. And also I would like that to be a little bit tighter, because as I was reading the stuff that you did, like the actions that you took, I actually didn't even I stopped reading at iterated designs.
Got it.
Because there's so many actions, I didn't get to the thing that the actual result is, okay, you got approval of 80%. But also, I think it's fine, but just figure out what this approval is. Is this like a rating, review? Is this like some sort of stakeholder buy-in? I understand it's a student project, but I just don't have the visibility. So think about, I think it's totally okay. Think about whether it will be understood, and also think about pulling it up into one line so that we can actually get to it faster.
Okay. And one last question.
Sure.
You mentioned, talking about what you did, why you did it, and like what was the result. So when you're framing your bullets, would you say like the first bullet is what you did, second is why you did? Like how would you frame those three things?
Yeah. Sorry. So that's that's not like a hard and fast rule. Usually, the way to go, if you want a formula about it, it would be a strong action verb, and different strong action verbs throughout that show these aspects of product management: leadership, prioritization, execution, collaboration, communication. Show them with that strong action verb. Like, this is what happened, and then what happened as a result, as a minimum. And then if you can weave in why, that's great. That's sort of like an optional. But in terms of the formula, it's the strong action verb, and then followed by what happened, and what did you do, and the impact.
Okay, great. I think that's it. I'll definitely come back next week or the next week after.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Take care. Okay, folks, I think that was pretty fast. I think, Benita, we're going to try to take your resume next. I can see you, and I'm getting more confident in the fact that StreamYard actually works. Very, very exciting. Let me also mess around with these banners. look at this. We've got this right here. Very excited about this banner. I see the likes are going up. That's good. That's what we want. That's a metric for success for me. And let me also take a look at what's happening in chat. Make sure there's no question. Zara, good morning. Good to see you. Musa, Daphne, hello. Good to see you as well. Okay. Benita, let me bring you in if you're ready.
Ready.
Excellent. Hello, Benita.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good.
Excellent. So give us maybe a few words, introduction, and then to the resume.
So my name is Benita Sandhu. I have about 5 to 6 years experience in project management at an aerospace company. I recently was actually, unfortunately, part of workforce in reduction, and I have managed a lot of projects with software implementations, and I have my bachelor's in electrical engineering.
Got it. Okay, Benita, sounds good. I'm sorry to hear that, but we'll definitely take a look at your resume and see if we can get you back into the game. Let's take a look at your resume. You could put it on the screen.
What happened to my
You
resume?
said project management, right?
Yes.
Project management. Okay. And do you want to? Are you looking to get into product management or just back into tech or project management? What do you think?
Well, my more experience, Alex, is more of a project management. So my product was softwares, and I had to implement that product at my company, Parker Aerospace. So it's a mix of project and product.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. Let's take a look. All right, maybe you can actually zoom in and start at the top for us a little bit, so I don't have to zoom my screen.
Is it not showing?
It's showing. It's just yeah. That's better.
Is that better?
Yep. That's good.
Good.
You could try to make it full screen. That should. Let's see if it works.
You know, the full screen might not work.
Oh, it won't. Okay. Let's do it.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, digital transformation. So this is Parker Hannifin Aerospace Group. All right. Integrated Spec 2000 EDI. I don't know what Spec 2000. Am I supposed to know what that is? Is that a thing that people in the aerospace industry know about?
Yes, it is a software application that aerospace industry uses for order management.
So yeah, so that's. I mean, I love to find out new stuff. It's awesome. I will definitely check it out. Just write down. But the thing is it like aerospace industry specifically?
Yes, it is aerospace specific.
Okay. So, and are you looking? Do you think you're looking to get back into aerospace? Is that an ideal?
No, I am open to.
You're open. Okay. So that's why the reason I ask that is because you come in right off the bat and you're basically saying like I am heavy aerospace and my domain knowledge is aerospace, and so that's going to be a big strength when there's going to be an aerospace position, but generally not necessarily a weakness, but basically what happens is when we look to fill a position for product managers, I was in a panel, I think yesterday, a couple of days ago, speaking to students about this, and there was a product manager director, and I actually liked the way he phrased the way that hiring manager recruiters look for product managers. And I think I probably do it in a similar way. And that is primarily you look for skills of a product manager, soft skills in the resume, and then you look for impact, execution, all of these other things, obviously education, but only then you look at domain. And the reason is because domain, it's possible to teach someone, but soft skills and these product manager skills are a little bit harder to teach sometimes. Okay. So when you come out with something like that right off the bat, it feels like, okay, that's the aerospace domain, and I don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to be a good match for something else. So that's just something to think about. Again, fairly small detail, but something to think about. Okay. Let's dig in. And also, because it's actually your heading, right? It's your digital transformation. Like you integrated this thing to reduce the errors by 90%. That sounds good. And certainly that's what we want to see in our aerospace groups. But I also don't exactly understand like errors errors of what by 90%? Like it's a little bit unclear.
Okay. I can
Let's go through
fix
some of
that.
these bullets, and then maybe it will become clear.
Okay.
So conducted software implementation, customer support division from initial strategy phase to implementation. First, my minor nit is I try not to use the same words too often. In
Okay.
conversation, I do end up using the same words too often, like impact. But in written form, I try to make sure that the verbs are all different, and generally we don't reuse words. If possible, use a synonym, but if better, reduce, so that you
Okay.
actually have less text, less content. What, again, this bullet is more about sort of your duties, your responsibilities. If you're trying to say that you led end-to-end development here, then it's better to just say it, like end-to-end software development.
Okay.
Because then I feel like, okay, you've got leadership aspects, you've got execution, you've got all these aspects. But as it is, I feel like you were involved in getting, and also I don't know exactly what it means to move customer support from strategy to implementation. Like,
Okay.
what's the thing? Is it tools? Is it customer support tools? Is it some sort of a new product that is rolling out? You know, that's unclear. So we've got to
Okay.
get a little more clarity
Okay.
there if you can.
Sorry, I'm writing notes down.
Oh yeah, it's okay. And you can go back and watch the video later on.
Okay.
It will be available. I think it takes a couple hours, but it becomes available later on, right on YouTube. Design the scope of work, project schedules, roadmap, scenarios, communication. Okay, let's see, 18 full-time employees across all these things, and to do what? To integrate EDI into the business. Okay. Is that impactful? I assume.
Yes,
I know it's
actually.
certainly hard to do, to implement anything across any organization, but certainly aerospace, and certainly a lot of different orgs. I think the point you're trying to make there is that you were able to work with multiple organizations and integrate a new process, which is
Correct.
extremely complicated, and you got it done. But it's not coming through as clearly. Maybe if I read it, think about it, that's what I'd get. But see if you can figure out, because what you're trying to say is that you implemented a complicated process across multiple legacy organizations.
Correct.
Maybe you should just say that. Like,
Okay.
I implemented a complicated process, parentheses, EDI.
Okay.
Or that sort of spec or whatever it was, what we were looking at. I think we were looking, EDI. Across multiple departments, and then you can have them in parentheses. I think, because now I'm thinking, as I'm reading it now, I'm thinking about, okay, so you design the scope of work, the project schedules, roadmaps, scenarios, like you did all this stuff, but the point is, the main point gets lost a little bit.
Okay.
The main point is that you worked across all these departments to do this complicated process. I know that it takes all of these different steps to actually implement that process, but as you list those things out, you make your main point a little bit less potent from my point.
Okay.
Seamlessly integrated, rolling out 75 customers, saving 2.4 million a year. Good. That's great. Maybe you should make it a little bit more general, right? Not everybody that's going to be reading this resume is going to be in the aerospace industry. And so if you want to explain to them what the thing is, like what's its function, and then put it in parentheses, or just rather than just leading with the thing. And if people don't know it, like I don't know it, I won't be able to extract the meaning from it that I would have. Well, let me tell you this.
Okay.
Remember to subscribe ticker just running on the bottom. I think kind of like it. I think maybe it's too much. Also, again, a reminder for the folks that are still waiting in staging area. Meanwhile, if you could make a post about the fact that we do have a product manager resume review live happening right now. We'll be here for another hour, maybe two, depending on how it goes. So if you want to share it with your friends or colleagues that are interested in similar type of services, make sure to do so they can join us as well. Because I think when I didn't see this type of content or video when I was crafting my resume. I remember it was not easy to do it. And so even if you don't get your resume looked at, if you just follow along, if you listen, you can kind of see the patterns, and you can definitely apply it to your own resume without actually speaking to me live. Although obviously I'm happy to chat. Benita, having said that, let's keep going here. Honored with a Win Credible, I like it, award. What does that mean? Award? Oh, awarded to one person a quarter. Okay, so like it's a unique award, only awarded to one person per quarter above and beyond achievements. Okay, that's great.
Sure.
I think the 2.4 million is strong. I think the award is strong. Create user documentation. Also, don't capitalize stuff just because, unless there's a reason to do it. Again, I got to remember to always give a warning when I give my own personal nitpicks that are totally irrelevant. But yeah, just in general, I think it's save the capitalization for stuff that kind of you want to highlight. Created user documentation and provided training to the team and technical support to internal team members. So that's stuff you did, but now let's think about what was the result of it. Because of this user documentation and training, were they able to become more effective? Were they able to do something that they weren't able to do before, or do it faster, better somehow?
Yeah,
I think that's great, super helpful. I definitely try to do that myself, or in my work as well. But let's try to think about how it can be measured and demonstrated as impact.
Okay.
Technical support, also that's technically 2 lines. Like think about either how to combine it or put it in some bullet point. But again, focus on the meaningful bullet points and lead with the meaningful bullet points. I would also remove the digital transformation stuff. And I see in general, you've got these headings: legacy, internal order, management system transformation. That is pretty great. But especially if you're going for product manager, because that feels like more of a project manager type of accomplishment. It's a very meaningful thing, but it's sort of very, very specific, and it's very process oriented, and it's not necessarily. It's certainly the type of work that product managers can do, but it's not necessarily. If you see multiple of these type of items, that's not usual. Right, for a product manager, you just exclusively do that. And of course, I understand you're a project manager, and it's totally cool.
Okay.
I see program administrator. So program administrator, that's like I guess what you were saying is like a mix between product and project.
Okay.
Represent aerospace IT conferences. It would be great to maybe again understand the impact. Like, are there leads? Are there like something that comes out of these conferences? That would be ideal. Again, just putting our product manager hat on. Data analysis reporting also would be good to understand. Cost of poor quality engineering KPIs. That's actually not bad to demonstrate. Even like ideally, the impact of that would be improvement in those metrics. Correct. But it's okay even if you just want to demonstrate the data analytics skills themselves. Let a team of 20. That's powerful. I would also figure out a way to push that more up top. Let a team of 20. Customer response IT, overhaul legacy orders, saving 40 million. I didn't even, that was hidden in the back. That's great. You definitely don't be shy about featuring stuff like that, because as we scan these resumes, we're going to look at stuff like led teams, executed launches, saved X dollars, earned X dollars, or in these percentage increases in these type of KPIs. Like, we want to see numbers, many, many numbers. And so whenever you have the opportunity to showcase those, definitely do so.
Okay.
And higher up, I would say. 500 errors, solutions for 500 errors on pricing. That's a lot of errors.
Oh, yeah.
Let's think about established solution that doesn't feel specific enough. Like I would rather know that you had 500 errors. And I think you said you reduced it by 90%.
Yes.
You could just say, we had 500 plus errors. I reduced it, took these steps, or this one step, like this key thing. And the end result was a reduction in errors by 90%.
Okay.
And now it kind of makes sense, because I think I see it that you're talking about. Where was I? Oh, pricing. So now I know what these errors are. Remember, I asked you up top, like, what are these errors? So maybe you could remove that up top and just make it one bullet. Like, here are the errors. Here's the problem. And I reduced it down to 90%. Reduced it down 90% rather. Okay. Let me just scan quickly the rest. Saving $5 million a year. It's funny. Now you got a bunch of numbers here. You got cross-functional team leadership. Good. That's what we want to demonstrate. You got savings $5 million. Remove third-party services. That's very specific, and save $5 million. I like that one. I like that bullet a lot. Design the pilot for 25 customers. Eventually roll out full launch to 150 in 1 year. Great. You don't even need to say 1 year because I don't know. It's not like it doesn't add to the story. But you design a pilot, and I would say something again like end to end as much as possible. So you got a lot of strong bullets on the bottom, actually. I would put them back up top, focus on impact, and I think it looks solid. Let me just maybe scroll down. Let's just quickly see what you got there. But I see a lot of numbers already, which makes me happy. Created metrics. It would be great to know why. Evaluated actions. Again, team members. I think that's fine. Get rid of stuff like providing customer support on, again, anything that looks like a responsibility or a thing that you did without any reason. Generally, try to see if you can either craft it into a story that makes sense or remove it entirely. Okay, let's actually stop there because I think your resume is pretty solid, Benita. I don't think you'll have any issues getting callbacks. I don't know if you've already started to reach out, but make the changes that we talked about. I think you are going to notice a difference in the callbacks. It's always good when I look at a resume and I can actually, I'm pretty confident that it will drive a difference in your response rates if you just put it up top. Focus on telling the story, a little bit more on the impact, and remove the redundant stuff.
Thank you so much.
Any questions before we let you go?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, good. All right. Please keep me updated. Let me know how your job search is going and all that stuff. And
all right. Thank you.
Take care. Okay, folks, we're moving fast now. We are moving fast. Don't forget, I love this ticker. Remember to subscribe. All right, let me just make sure there's no questions in the chat. Josh, yes, you're trying to enter the studio in the stream here. Yep, I know. Unfortunately, it's full. It might still be full. Keep trying. And if not, of course, there's always next weekend. Like I said, you can actually learn from these resumes. A lot of them certainly have a lot of similarities and a lot of overlap. And so if you just pay attention, and you can see how you can apply it to yourself. And I hope that you do so. Okay. Let me turn this off. And Edmund, I see Edmund. Okay, Edmund, I'm so excited to hear you and talk with you because last time we couldn't get it done. Let me try to add you here. Edmund.
Hey, Alex. Can you hear me?
Oh, my God. You're messing with me for a moment there? I thought I couldn't hear you again.
Oh, wait, you can hear me?
Oh, there's a delay. Okay, all right. So we've encountered our first technical problem of the day.
No,
but it sounds like you can still hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so we're just delayed, Edmund. That's pretty funny.
Okay.
All right, so let's give it a moment. You can share your resume meanwhile, because if we're delayed, we're not going to be able to have a conversation. So what happened was Edmund joined last week, and unfortunately I couldn't hear him because we were a different service. And he was innovative enough to actually just write down notes for me, and we were able to get through a resume review. So Edmund, since we have a delay here, maybe you can, okay, you shared your resume. Let me put it on the screen. Let me look at it. Maybe you can give me an overview of what changes you made since we last spoke.
Yeah, for sure. I think after joining the session last week, like you said, I didn't have a whole lot of impact. I was more of just saying like what I did, and also instead of saying like why I did it and like how it impacted like the company, I was just going into specifics on like what I did and how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And like now I understand that in product management, like you want to be able to like drive results. And I think this time I tried really hard to at least try to add some numbers and like describe the impact that my work was able to have.
Excellent.
And I just tried to I also made sure I tried to make all my points like one line at most, so I was able to be like more concise that way.
Excellent. All right, sounds good. Yeah, it feels good to have somebody else saying these things instead of me for a change. So thank you. Thank you for that. Thanks for paying attention. Let's now go through it and see. I don't expect it to be perfect on the first rework, but let's take a look. Okay, education, just a short line on education. I think that's great. Don't waste a lot of space. You mentioned, oh, Dean's Honor List. That's actually a nice touch. 2015, 16, 18, 19. That's great. You still got that 80% overall average in there. That's still, I don't know. It's got to be a candidate thing, but that's fine. Let's look at your work experience. Tesla, yes, I remember this. All right, till now, let's look at the actual bullet points. Multi-million-dollar vendor bids for automation system in Berlin factory. Okay, so strategic reviews, good. That's closer, but again, I kind of understand why they're important. But what happened? Were you able to did some movement happen in the process? Like, did the automation system in Berlin move closer to something as a result?
Yeah, so we ended up through some the recommendations that I made, the team that I was working with did end up selecting the vendor that I said was good, and we should go with these guys because they're cheap and cost effective and they're reliable. And
cheap, cost effective, and reliable. Whoa, I've never heard that combination.
Well, they were very competitive, I would say, and I was able to convince my team to go forward with this vendor. Okay,
figure out how to say all that in 7 words and then put it over there, because that's the result. And you don't need to multi-million-dollar. You can do a $XM plus. That already means multi-million-dollars.
Okay.
Also, good job, because that Tesla stock in that period, it really did okay. So whatever you did, Edmund, great work. You and Elon got it done, it looks like. Let's keep going here. Identify, translate control engineers' pain points with Tesla controls to 10 plus actionable specifications. Okay, control engineers' pain points with Tesla oven controllers. Okay. That's pretty specific. I don't know that you necessarily need that. I mean, it actually is an okay line as it is. Actionable specifications, do you mean actionable spec as in these points need to be addressed?
Yeah, so I ended up creating a really large proposal, and it sort of highlighted every aspect of the oven controller that needs to be improved, and then how we could improve those specs as well.
Got it. Okay. I think it's close. Let's see if we can get it even a little bit clearer so that I understand. And also, I'm not sure that that's going to be your stronger bullet. I think that top one makes sense if it led to actually selecting that vendor. I think that's strong and powerful for just a few months' work. Drafted 50% more cost-effective oven controller proposal to replace all existing devices in Tesla's factories. Well, that seems... What happened with that proposal?
So I was able to so this relates to the second point, and I was able to write a proposal that was very comprehensive, and it is designed to replace all the existing oven controllers in Tesla's factory. It's still an ongoing process, but
sure.
What I've created now has an expected projected cost savings of 50% per controller. Okay.
So it would be great if we can get that moving through the stakeholders at least. I understand, a proposal like that across all factories, dealing with very much physical hardware is not going to move quickly. But if you could just demonstrate that, I mean, even the fact that you were able to put this together and are in the process of getting it reviewed, or it's going through stakeholder review, I think that would be a little bit more powerful. And also, the way you say it, drafted 50% more cost-effective oven controller proposal, a little bit disjointed still. I would like to see it a little bit clearer. What is this proposal? Drafted a proposal to reduce cost by 50%, right? That would be stronger. Or drafted is also not a very strong verb. Drafted, I drafted a one-pager on this thing, but so think about how to just make that a little bit stronger. It's more... You actually put together, you design, you put together specifications, and you proposed or maybe led I don't know if you presented on this or like what happened with it, but if it's being considered for review, then it's a little bit more work than just drafted. So think about what action verb to work with there.
Okay.
Design new SCADA tracking system. Again, am I supposed to know what SCADA is? I'm finding out so much stuff about different industries. Is that like widely known?
It's like a widely used tracking, like a type of variation of tracking systems in industrial engineering.
Let me just write that down. I'm getting so much smarter hanging out with you folks. SCADA. See, little by little, I'm just going to know about automotive and aerospace industries. I'm going to be able to add value there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Enabling real-time reports on performance segments of assembly lines. That's good. Real-time reports. Then the next step is, okay, were those real-time reports, did someone take action on them? Well, what happened? You did those reports, and then what happened?
Right. So again, like this was like really early in the design, like everything works, and it hasn't exactly been pushed out to factory wide yet, but
sure,
it's expected to be. So I guess it's
okay.
Kind of hard
So you're saying, look, this stuff is important. Like, okay, but maybe you could demonstrate what was before, what was the previous state. So how did we know before when there were underperforming segments of assembly lines? Did someone just like Elon walk by and he noticed that was underperforming? Like how did you know before?
I guess before they really had no way of tracking what was underperforming in their assembly lines. And with our system, we were able to say, okay, this assembly line is being slowed down by the one before because it's not providing any feedback. Or it's not providing anything to the line in front of it, and then like it keeps going on, and this allows us a way to keep track of the entire factory and see what's like slowing down the entire process.
That's stronger than what it looks like right now. So maybe if you can demonstrate that the existing state is no tracking, no ability to understand underperforming aspects, but now with your proposal, there is a way to track. And again, show that it's being reviewed, and it impacts, potentially whatever it impacts, factory, all the factories, whatever. I'm surprised at like the level of scope basically that you have as, I guess this is an intern.
It was an internship.
Yeah, that's crazy amount of scope.
Yeah, I guess the drawback of internship is it's hard to see these projects through from like start to finish, because within 4 months,
people get it.
That's
not people get
a lot of time.
That's don't feel bad about that. That's normal. I think just starting things, moving them a little bit forward to the right direction, I think that's all you can do. I mean, 3 months, I don't think I'd be able to get anything done. Design and ship new UI features for entire Fremont paint shop GUI, leading to improved body tracking. I don't exactly get what that is. Because I don't know exactly what improved body tracking is. But I guess you're going to tell me.
Yeah, it's sort of related to the point before it. So again, like currently at the Fremont paint shop, there's not a way to see where physical car bodies are on the assembly lines.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can really see it unless they dig like really deep into programs. So
oh my God,
the team do.
You can't tell where people are in these?
Oh, like sorry, car bodies. Sorry.
Okay, good. Because I got scared there for a moment. Okay, so I think the point, besides educating everyone in chat and everyone watching this in the future about the Tesla Fremont factory, we also learned that this is confusing stuff and not everybody's going to get it. So like get to the point you're trying to say and make it in a succinct way.
Okay, gotcha.
Let's keep going. Scotiabank, design automated HR data transfer flows to internal databases in Unix. Okay. Why are you telling me that it was in Unix?
Yeah, I guess.
Like we just talked about the similar things. Like you telling me you basically it's extra words. It's not really necessary for a product manager. Most important is what is this HR data transfer flow? Why is it important? You designed it and automated it. Did you launch it, or is this a similar situation?
It's a similar situation.
So let's figure out what happened. Like, where is it on the on the stakeholder approval. If you could move forward, or if there's too much of that, like if we're constantly bumping up against, okay, this is in stakeholder approval, then think about how it is better than existing. So what is the present state? What's the improvement that you're suggesting? Because you're solving problems, right? You're solving problems for internal customers, external customers. Even if you can't launch a thing, you can move it forward with stakeholders, or you can say, here's what the present state is. Here's what the design thing is. At least you're showing, user empathy. You're working like a product manager.
Okay.
Created detailed visual reports on all HR data transfer flow in Visio to 20 data engineers. Okay, that's helpful. To solve what problem? That you don't know how HR data transfer flows? What's the problem there?
I guess at the time that I joined, a lot of new data engineers were also coming into Scotiabank, and there was no encompassing like detailed report of where the data was getting transferred in, transferred in between. So then I took the initiative to just create like a really big spreadsheet and diagram Visio to show all these new data engineers, like, hey guys, this is where these things are going.
Okay. So this is more like an educational mentorship supporting role. It helps onboarding, right?
Okay.
Helps figure that out. So, like maybe treat it more like that. So you're basically helping these data engineers on board. You're helping them be more effective in understanding like where to source data and how to think about actually analyzing this data. So I think you are setting them up for success. I don't know that what I got out of that one is that you can make visual reports out of process flows, which is that's great. I definitely like that. And I want to see more of that type of ability, but I think it goes beyond that because you helped onboard them. You help make their future work more impactful by showing them, how this process actually works. So think about how to make that jump out a little bit more.
Okay.
New test classes for 15 data engineers, 100% code coverage during internal truth. That's strong. 100% code coverage during internal. Yeah, you got one. That's a good one.
Yes.
So let's keep going. Successfully led development of an automated GPS testing platform, saving 90% of man hours per device. You could just change that to work hours also.
Okay.
Per device with expected product release by 2021 to all Canadian regional offices. You don't need to tell me about all Canadian regional offices. You could just say to all like worldwide product release, right? Expected worldwide product release by 2021.
I guess this one's for Canada only.
That's okay. Oh, I see.
Okay.
So regional. So this is Scotiabank. I see. So so this is Public Safety Canada. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, of course. Well, that makes sense to just broad, a broad product release, a full product release, right? I'm saying is there's no point to mentioning like, okay, this is the specific region where it's at. You're trying to make the point that it's broad. It's a lot of places, right? So you just say that, I think.
Okay.
And then successfully led. Successfully is not a strong action verb, Edmund. You remember?
Okay.
So let's just also successfully is like hopefully all this stuff is successful. It doesn't necessarily have to all be successful, but I think it just sort of goes without saying. So like, what are you trying to say there? You're trying to say that you saved 90% of work hours.
Yes.
Per device. That's pretty strong. And then that's going to launch. So figure out a way to say that in one line and definitely take credit. If you were involved, take credit.
Okay.
Collaborated 3 international agencies when you say 3+, you can say multiple.
Okay.
Because 3+, I don't know what that is. Is that 3? Is that 4? That's like, I usually draw the line at 10+ for my plus. I already told you I like that. But like 3+, like, is that 3? Is that 4? Just several.
Right. Multiple.
Yeah, multiple. Collaborate with multiple international agencies to ensure multiple devices are effective for international field usage. I don't know what that means. And how did you do it? How did you collaborate with them? That one's not clear. You're going to have to think about that one a little bit more. cross-disciplinary team of RCMP. Don't know what RCMP is.
They're like Canada's
Royal
version of
Canadian something.
yeah. It's
Is
like
it
Canada's version of like FBI.
RCMP? What is that? Come on, man! I'm learning more stuff.
It stands for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are the Canada's version of FBI.
And like just federal policing
Just
organization.
to be clear, the Royal Canadian
Yes.
Mountain Police.
Mounted. So like
mounted.
Horseback mounted.
I don't know if that's better, actually.
I guess mountain does sound cooler.
Canada. I love Canada. That's awesome. RCMP and public safety employees to write direct. Let me write that down as well, because one of my goals is to become more educated about different regional aspects as well. So that's going to be a good one to add to my vocabulary. Public safety employees to write, direct, and film documentation videos. Documentation videos. And this is like educational. What's the takeaway? What's the impact?
So the impact was, so at Public Safety Canada, like we're always like constantly developing like new devices for our employees to use, and we need a way to like roll those out and teach people how to use those devices. So I guess my task was to like film and direct a lot of these like tutorial videos to train like whether it's like RCMP or other like employees within multiple agencies, so they can like properly use these things.
Got it. And there's a little Canada.
Hey.
What's up, Peter? Thanks for joining us. Okay, sounds good. So Edmund, I think we rolled through a lot of it. It's looking a lot better.
Okay.
It is looking a lot better. And usually as you get down lower, actually scroll down a little bit as well. As you get down to the resume, obviously it's a lot less important. But I do see you got your hackathon, which I think is strong. You think you moved that to the bottom, which I think makes sense. Projects, strong. Skills, I think are totally fine. You got a lot of stuff in there. So I think it's looking very good. Like I know I told you a lot of comments, so go back and kind of think about it. But I think a couple more iterations, and you're going to be good to go. And I think you're going to get. I think it's that Tesla is sort of dominating my mind from what I took away from that. I like that you have Tesla, you have bank in there, you have a variety of public, obviously, government office. And so I do like the variety, actually. It's pretty cool. And product managers, a lot of times, they have to be generalists. And a lot of time we look for strong generalists that have these skills that can execute on meaningful stuff across the board. Education, but also look in Tesla, like improvement there, savings, all this stuff. So keep working. Any more questions before we move on?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me writing these resumes is trying to fit like what I did, why I did, and how it's impactful into like one line. Or even within 2 lines. So I was wondering if you have any like tips on how to like concisely convey like all 3 of those things.
Yeah, and that's tough. So I always have to give people a little caveat with that, is like, if you can't do it, then at least do the strong verb, like what you did and why it was impactful. Right. So at least what and why, because the how you're going to lose, and the why you're not going to be able to fit in there. So that's how I usually approach it. I like to put in the what, the why, and the impact. But if I have to jettison one of those, it's going to be a lot of times the why, because ideally the impact is going to show the why. A lot of the times, actually, for you might not even have necessarily impact. We're always thinking like, okay, what's this proxy impact that we can show here? But you do have the why, and the why can be, well, here's the present state. It sucks. And I identified this problem. I want to solve it. And so even if you don't have it, okay, I couldn't finish it, I was only there a few months. Like, here's the what I did. Here's why I did it. Here's the present state. And here's my proposed solution would be this. It's like sort of your impact, but yeah, proxy for it. So usually that's how I do it. In terms of any like practical tips on how to actually fit it in there. I think the go-to there is just to ask yourself, what's the story you're telling with that bullet? What's the exact story, the one thing you're trying to say with that bullet? And then any word that does not convey that same point, just remove it ruthlessly,
Okay.
right? Just
Okay.
get rid of the RCMP if it's irrelevant. That's a joke. Don't do that. RCMP, strong. That's strong. All
Okay,
right.
awesome.
Thank you very much. Great seeing you. Obviously, keep me updated on your progress. Hopefully, I can't wait to hear from you. I'm sure you're going to be very successful.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Edmund. Take care. All right, my Canadian friends. Thank you for joining us. Why does it say Alex Ruchevsky over there? Let me see if I can remove that. Oh, and also I see Gar asked, hey, Alex, I was promoted 4 times in my first org. After that, I worked for 2 more companies. How do I put my promotions at the same company? Can I put them in a single line? Yeah, that's actually a great question. You can put them in a single line. You can say this position, comma, this position, comma, that position. It kind of shows your progression, shows your growth. You can also show like a more than sign, like you're moving that direction as well. That's an option. But yeah, I think, and also it's up to you. You can just list your, let's say you were promoted multiple times. You can only list, you can list 2 of those positions, for instance. But yes, I think single line is the best way to do that. Great question, actually, because I had that as well. So I'm going to take, let me take Musa. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but if you can get your camera working, we'll try to get you in here. Okay, all right, looks like you're with us. Let me just add you in a moment. Okay, actually, I just realized that there was maybe a concern about a chat issue, but an audio issue. So hopefully you guys aren't seeing any audio issues and everything's fine. But let me know in chat if there are any issues. Okay, so Musa, let me try to bring you in here. Hello, hello. So did I say that right?
Yeah, you said that perfectly fine.
Okay, awesome, Musa. Thank you very much for joining us. Give us a few words, intro, and then what you're looking for.
Sure. So I'm a 3rd-year computer science and business student at the University of British Columbia. And like Gina in the morning, I have quite a few software engineering experiences. And for my last internship, I'd like to do one in the PM role. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Okay. And so Canada.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Go Canada.
I saw you speak at the UBC PM panel a few days ago.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
It was organized by Ratchet, who I saw in the chat earlier this morning.
Oh, okay. That's also out there. Yeah, I see Ratchet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring Ratchet in. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out. I know we have a few folks waiting. Okay, Musa. So let's get your resume. Let's see what you've got. I give everyone that form to fill out because there's a couple of videos that I think are important to watch because like basis, like 5-8 minute videos just to set like a lot of the stuff that I end up repeating. And then obviously I want people to try to go through the process and just do the best they can to kind of draft the resume. And I think a lot of times folks do try it. So let me actually put it on screen.
Now, I watched a few of your videos, and I think I crafted this new PM resume based on those. So hopefully it's up to.
Okay, awesome. All right, good. So I see it. Maybe you can actually, I see it okay. Maybe you could zoom in a little bit. I don't know if it, yeah, perfect. Yeah, take it up top. Excellent. All right, dual major, computer science, business. That's the best combination for product management, I gotta say.
Awesome.
So did you were you trying to go for product manager earlier? Or did you learn about it recently? Tell me about that.
I've heard about the project management role or the product management role, but I wasn't really interested in it, to be honest. I'd been coding since I was pretty young. I think I started when I was 14. So that was something I always was interested in, something I always wanted to pursue. But as of late, I found the product management role to be quite compelling. I bought the Cracking the PM interview book and been cracking through that, and it sounds pretty interesting. And given your talk a few days ago, it sounds like a role I'd be good at. So.
Yeah, for sure. So I think a lot of folks with engineering background, like that have been coding for a while, come to that same conclusion. And sometimes they actually, go as software engineers for a few years, and they're like, I actually like building stuff a little bit more than I like to actually code, because your knowledge of coding is going to be very, very important. A lot of the times I say folks that are coming in from a non-engineering background, non-computer science background, they need to pick up those skills a little bit. They need to understand just the concepts of basically coding, because you're going to be able to speak the language of software engineers. If you don't really understand how that works, how data flows work, how the internet works, it's going to be tough. And so I think that's definitely a strong benefit. And I think computer science and business is basically as good a combination as you can get for product management, tech product management these days. Okay, my thoughts on coursework up top. If it is relevant, it looks like it is relevant. You got data structures, algorithms, AI, ML, business, quantitative finance, logistics, operations, managerial, economics. Yeah, it all looks pretty solid. I still might put it on the bottom, maybe not, since you're still, still very much in the middle of your educational career. You're going to be using this resume to apply for internships?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's put our product manager internship hat on. Oh, you're working for Unity, right? So right now, right as they went public, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was quite a big event a few days ago, or a week ago at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I worked with Unity for many, many years, because I used to do games for a long time, and that was kind of go-to. We switched to Unity again many years ago, and so I've been sort of waiting for this IPO, and I think that there's so much room for Unity as a business and as a stock in the future.
Did you buy into the stock at all?
I did a little bit. Yeah, I did a little bit. Yeah.
So you're probably up at this point.
A little bit, yeah. But yeah, I go long term. I never invest for short term anything. And so it's just a little bit. But I want to see what happens in like 5, 10, 15 years.
No, but you're right. I think it's a solid company to own. Biggest or the most popular game engine in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And also what a lot of people don't really know is that they are an ad network as well, because of how much they know about their users, their developers. They can effectively basically serve ads to different end users. So
team is the second biggest team in Unity. So yeah,
there you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's great. So Unity Technology and Tesla, IBM. Musa, you're collecting pretty big name companies over here. I think I'm not sure you need me to take a look at this resume. You're doing pretty well already.
I don't know, Alex. I feel like it's still pretty tech heavy. I try to watch your videos on tailoring your resume if you're a college student, aiming for that impact as opposed to responsibility. So I think I worked on that quite a bit, but I think it's still pretty technical.
Got it. Okay, so let's look at that. Just by the way, sort of face value, you've got business and computer science. This is also important because like you're trying to get this resume better. But a lot of times, if I'm a recruiter, I won't even read your resume. If I see computer science, business, Unity, Tesla, IBM, I don't have to read. That's actually very interesting. But as we go into, of course, the next steps, we're going to have our conversations on the phone. We're going to move into interview. Then we might say, okay, I don't know how the fit is. So it's still important for us to look at it. But I would be surprised if you would not have anything but stellar response rates. I don't want to overextend your expectations here, but still you should be applying to multiple positions and all this stuff. And clearly you've been doing that, but I would expect that you're going to get great response rates.
No, hopefully, Alex. I don't know, for PM roles especially, I've been trying for a couple of months now at this point. Hasn't been that great. For software, it's been pretty decent. But
okay. Let's look at it. Let's look at it from that perspective.
Sure.
Okay, front end and back end test suites for proprietary cryptocurrency wallet project. Oh, I did not know Unity was doing that. That's very interesting. Ideate and implement a test plan project stack, JavaScript for front end, for back end. Yeah, because that is very responsibility based.
Mm-hmm.
So this project is a new project in development. Presumably it's not live. This is not something that is okay. So for test suites, ideate, implement a test plan project stack. Yeah, that's very specific. And you're stacking it with tools. So like I see automation tools in there. That's great. But I think from a product manager perspective, you are you're building this thing and you're adding automation. So that would be like the focus. And there's like anything where obviously we can automate, we can kind of have a stronger impact. But as it is, obviously that's your project, like that's what you're working on. So see if you can think about, again, what is the goal of this project? And if you want to demonstrate like your collaboration skills in this one, because product managers, they have a lot of different skills you want to demonstrate. And so you may want to demonstrate your ability to work with multiple people, or adapt specifications, or think about the user needs. See if you can dig in a little bit deeper to think about, okay, you're building this thing, but who are you building it for? What is it supposed to change? How do you feel about it? And see if you can tease some more details out of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in Tesla automation, car log retrieval process. Again, you gotta, for product management, I can see how for engineering you have no problem to get through, but for product management you don't need a lot of the stuff. You just, the focus is you're trying to automate. You reduce the time to pull logs by 97%. That's awesome. 5 minutes to 8 seconds. That's awesome. But I want to understand why those logs are being pulled. What are they actually used for?
Okay. Gotcha.
Collaborated with QA to augment application, accelerate triaging process. So again, that's kind of like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're triaging faster. Just tell me how much faster you're triaging, and what is the benefit of that? Does that mean that now we can just basically get through things faster? And also, I don't know what it means to have a car log. Like, what are these car logs? That's like pretty vague. I don't know. How does this impact like end users or your internal? Who does it impact? So let's get a little bit closer to understanding what you're actually doing. I like that impact. I like it. 97%, 5 minutes to 8 seconds. That's great. That's strong. But let's make sure that those logs, pulling those logs, actually means something to the person reading.
Mm-hmm.
QA data science to build API. Oh my God, you got so much technical stuff in there.
Yeah,
you're going hardcore engineering.
Mm-hmm.
See, and you may want to try to get away from that for product management, because by talking about stuff like this as a product manager, you're basically saying that you're really thinking about the how, which is exactly what the engineer's main job is. Product managers might lead the why and the what, and then the engineers come in and say the how.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're focusing a lot on the how, then it comes through that, in general, you feel more comfortable in the engineering perspective. And it makes sense. That's certainly been your background. You want to figure out a way to how to make that, leverage that as an asset. And so that it's not something where, like you said at the beginning of the conversations, like people might think, okay, well, this guy's an engineer through and through. Right.
So Alex, quick question on this. How would you phrase this so it addresses the why aspect? I guess you don't know the project or what car logs
well,
are.
yeah, I'd like to understand what it is. So think about it like at a very basic level. Who needs these logs? Why is this being pulled? Like, why is this necessary? What does it help? What is going to be better as a result? Internally, externally, whatever. Can you tell me that? Do you think now?
Yeah, sure. So Tesla is basically a computer. It's a Linux machine that's connected to the internet, and every 2 weeks an update is pushed to it, or not even 2 weeks. It depends. It could be 1 week, it could be a couple of days.
Okay.
And most of these times, the developers aren't perfect. There's going to be bugs in the code, and so customers report problems, and they get stored in our Jira as tickets. And when a ticket is created for a certain car, the logs for that car need to be pulled so that a QA, a tester, or someone in development could see what the problem was with that car at that specific time.
Got it.
So that's what the project was.
So these are just to dig into the details a little bit. That's pretty interesting. Also, I'd love to find out more about the stuff. But so the logs are basically all the data on what's happening with the car, just to put it in human language, like everything that's happening with the car, all the attributes of the car, just so that the engineer can actually look and see what's the state and what happened. These reports, the customer log these as like, I don't have a Tesla, so I don't know. Do I open up like file new bug in my Tesla?
No,
It's automatic.
I guess, yeah, there's a settings thing where or settings menu where a customer can go and they can report something that happened, and they can enter what happened, and that goes directly to that creates a ticket that goes into a Jira. Yeah.
But you're saying a lot of these logs are just automatic sort of errors that are submitted?
So no, the log in any computer is like you running
Sorry, not the
file that
log.
contains
Like when you're saying like these tickets, Jira tickets are open,
Mhm.
it's when something went wrong. So I'm saying is
Yes.
like when something goes wrong, is it the end user driver of Tesla or passenger that's submitting these error requests?
Mhm.
Or is it automatic that something happened and it just auto logged this error?
Most of the time it's the users, but sometimes it could be something internally that's wrong with the car, and the car recognizes it and sends a report back to Tesla.
Give me an example of what a user might say.
Sure. So let's say there's an update in regards to air suspension, and a user's trying to adjust their air suspension, but it's a bit too stiff. They could log that in, saying, I tried to adjust my air suspension. It didn't work, and this is what happened. Once they submit that, it becomes a ticket in our Jira for that specific time. An engineer would go back into Jira, they'd look at the ticket, they'd pull the log for that specific car at that specific time. They'd go through the log to see what happened and try to triage based on the problem they see.
Okay, you see, I think that you're still early on in your like thinking about product management. So I think that exercise that we just did, you need to do for everything, because that's already getting a lot closer. Now we're talking about an actual human that is like, hey, wait a minute, this stuff doesn't work. Like my suspension is off. Let me write Tesla an angry email from my dashboard or whatever, like from my phone. I don't know how it's done. And then it's sent, and then there's an engineer in Tesla. There's maybe an SLA, some sort of a time that they have to get back to that to that customer, and then there's an engineer, and the engineer, they have to physically request the logs. For some reason, the logs don't right away appear. Maybe it's just too much data. You don't want to be moving around all the time, whatever it is. But you pull the logs, even though the logs are from the moment or like the time period, probably some time period before that problem actually happened. The engineer will press a button, and in the past would wait for 5 minutes until the logs are sent over. But you did this thing, now it takes 8 seconds, and it now becomes real time.
Right. So whenever a ticket comes in, it pulls the log automatically.
Yeah. So we've got to figure out a way, and I don't know if we can do that live with you today, but like you've got to, number one, figure out a way to say that in human language. Like now an engineer could fix things sort of in real time as they start working on a problem. Now the data is available for them in real time, as opposed to before they would request, then go do something else, then forget about this thing. Then it would like be a further delay and delay and delay. And so the changes are not that you move from 5 to 8 seconds. It's that you moved it from as a sequence of events to real time. And I think that's powerful. And so figure out a way to say that in one line or 2 lines, but then the person that's reading it is going to think, wow, that's exactly what a product manager is supposed to do. Even though you did it as an engineer, that's exactly the type of thing that a product manager should do, because you see the problem, the end user's problem, and then the engineer's problem, and then you fix them both, helping everybody in the process. And you do that with engineering, and that's strong. That's how you spin it, product manager. That's an awesome example, by the way. I know that we're not done. You're gonna think about this. You're gonna take some time. You're gonna come back. We'll talk about it. But I think that's a great example for anyone watching about how you turn an engineering sort of task that you did, which had a strong result numerically, but it's not quite clear why, about getting to the bottom of it, understanding the actual problem at the end, the user's problem at the end.
Cool. Thanks, Alex.
You're going to need to disassemble like a lot of your other stuff for this as well. Like think through it like that and see like who did it actually help. It turns out this one helped 2 groups of people. Like what did your other work help? Let's roll through it quickly. I see here you got, again, 30 minutes to 5 seconds, this triage duplicated tickets. It's probably a similar issue. Oh yeah, this is that line that I couldn't really understand because you got so much tech in there.
Sure, I can quickly go over this too.
I mean, the idea is because triage of tickets. I assume again it's this similar type of stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like as you are going through. So whoever's triaging these support requests has to put them in groups, and you
Right.
made that process faster, which is also useful because again, at the end of the day, that end user, there's like 400 people that are telling you about their suspension because there's a bug. It affects everybody. You got to triage them. You got to prioritize. You got to do all that stuff. And again, if you were able to influence that, then again, you might move it from something that takes 30 minutes, which is definitely sequential, to real time again. So those effects should kind of reverberate through the SLAs and end up just having a net impact on basically customer satisfaction, which is a big deal. Let's go to IBM now. Improved UX by developing Golang plugin for IBM Cloud SDK, download external assisted cloud app. You're killing me. We'll say you are killing me. We got to this.
I tried, Alex. I tried.
No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, you're doing a great job. I think the resume looks great, but I think your next goal is going to be think about it from product manager perspective. Think about it from user's perspective. What's happening over there? How can you get to the problem at the core here? And let me see if I can disassemble. So again, you're saving user 5 minutes of manual installation. Who are these users? Is this from sequential to real time? Is this like what is the point of this? Who are like let's figure that stuff out.
Sure. So these would be our enterprise cloud users who want cloud monitoring applications on either their Kubernetes cluster or their Linux machines. So they'd have to go through this tedious manual process of installing this cloud app, whereas this plugin just does it for them, like you said, in real time.
Okay, so again, you're taking it from manual. Now, I wonder what happens as a result. Like, do people? It just probably improves overall customer satisfaction.
Probably, yeah. I'd hope so.
Oh yeah, so that's another thing. We got to get those exit metrics. Like, we need to understand when we do stuff. Those 5 minutes, was that useful? Was that impactful? Maybe we should have saved them 20 minutes somewhere else and just leave these 5 minutes. That's the prioritization aspect of product management. It's very hard to do in the wild. And a lot of times when you come at it from an engineering perspective, you're just like, problem to be solved. Let's go ahead and automate this. But then you're like, well, wait a minute. We saved 5 minutes here and it's frustrating. But then there might have been like 20 minutes saved that we could have saved somewhere else, or we could have done completely.
Sorry, Alex, give me 1 minute.
Sorry. Sure. Yeah, let me catch your feed here for a moment. Take a break from Musa. He needs to take a break. Actually, we can do it like that. So, but I think that actually is very helpful for anybody that's trying to come in from engineering and switch into product management, or just in general has not quite uncovered the user needs or the problems that are being solved by the work that you're doing. So if that is you, definitely apply that to your own resume and think about whose basically experience, whose lives are you changing, and however small way, it doesn't matter. But I think that exercise is important for anyone to do. Musa, you ready to look through the rest of the resume? Yep. Hang on 1 second. Put you back in here, and then the resume. I see it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right. So that's IBM ideate and implement a plugin test plan. Scoped out pain points for old test plan. Optimize test mode, higher coverage. Nope. Got to get more specific. What are these? What is this plugin? Is this still the same plugin?
Yes.
Okay. And so you've already saved users 5 minutes of manual installation and switched it to automatic, which is something you want to point out and like think about why this was important for them. Built and deployed applications with Docker containers. This is a solid engineering resume, I'll tell you. Deployed and tested deployments of applications. Deployed and tested deployment of applications.
Yeah, that's a bit. It's a mouthful.
That's a bit duplicative, but I understand why you said it like that anyway. Kubernetes clusters. Yeah, that's duty responsibility. It might be okay to cut that stuff for product manager perspective. It's okay. Like if you don't
The Docker and the Kubernetes stuff.
I mean, basically, like when you're an engineer, but you want to demonstrate product management aspects of your engineering work. For instance, with your Tesla stuff, I think that's clear. That's clear, and you can build a nice story about that. Now you need to figure out a way if you can build a similar story about IBM. I can see that to go from 5 to 0 to make it automatic, real time. I think that you could build a similar story. I'm not sure that the fact that you deployed applications
Probably not that.
doesn't tell me anything from product management perspective. Like, what are your product management skills when you do that? Is basically none. And that's where people kind of overestimate the importance of tech for especially generalist product managers. It's much more communication, collaboration than it is being able to deploy applications in Docker containers. That might be great for you to know as you're interacting with different engineers, but it basically doesn't really move the needle for end users.
Gotcha.
And then you've got deploy Python API for Jupyter Notebooks. It's Emergent Media Lab, facilitate data visualization within Unity. Again, I'm not sure if you're just showing off like some skills. As a product manager, you want to show off skills that are relevant to product management. So execution, collaboration, working with different types of people, if you can showcase that. Leading complex projects, ambiguous stuff, figuring out how to prioritize and how to make decisions, like any of these things, if you can demonstrate. I think in general, like a startup and business leadership, if you can show that in any way, like if you have a startup, I think in that way, then this thing at UBC Emerging Media Lab might make sense. Like you're saying, I'm just doing things by myself here. I'm just starting things up. And I see then you've got projects also where you're obviously just building stuff because you like to build. And that's important. That's strong to demonstrate. Oh, leadership. Great. I think that's strong. 2 informational sessions, sponsorship. Great. Led a team, hand selected by IBM HR. Yeah. To organize what? We lost something there.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. But hand selected by IBM is actually great, and it also you later worked for IBM, so I think or maybe that is this thing, but it's just it tells a solid story. Led a team, so I see you've got a lot of leadership stuff. That's great to demonstrate. That's aspects of product management. So go back with a kind of fine-tooth comb, get rid of stuff that doesn't tell a story, and it's okay if it's going to be a little bit shorter. You've got a lot of strong brand names, but you try not to, because on first glance, I'm going to look at those names and be like, yes, I'm very interested. But then as I see so much technical aspects of it, I don't see a lot of impact.
Right. You're right. This guy's an engineer.
So it might be even better to just like to have very little, but tell a product management story than it is to not tell a product management story, but have a bunch of tech stuff in there that's kind of irrelevant to the product management. So see what that looks like. It might look a little bit shorter. That's okay. But I think it'll be powerful. I think you'll be surprised that if you actually remove some of this tech stuff and just leave those big names, you're gonna get callback.
Okay. I'll go back and look through it and work through it and be back next week with an updated copy.
Perfect. Sounds good, Musa. Any other questions?
No, that's about it. You've covered everything. Thanks so much, Alex.
Awesome. All right. Best of luck. Keep me updated.
Will do. Bye-bye.
Okay, folks, give me just a moment here. I want to say hello to Rachid. I didn't notice him earlier, and we did an event a couple of days ago, and I definitely want to say hello. And then hopefully we'll get to the rest of you folks as well. Let me just look at the chat here. Any questions? Okay, no questions. By the way, here's what I haven't said in a while. This thing right here. Please remember to hit the like button as you're watching if you want to see more content like this, if you want to see more sessions like this in the future, if you think they're valuable, then obviously hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. Look at this thing right here. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. We actually got the watch time from 45% to 50% for subscribers. Now next goal is 55%. So if you're not subscribed and you do enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. And also I wanted to remind you to subscribe to my newsletter at www.alexruchevsky.com. That's where I'm going to be able to get in touch with you directly for like new events or programs that I want to kick off, or we can just chat. Basically, I just take general questions as well. Okay. Sarah, you like the fancy banners? Yeah, that's StreamYard. I'm pretty happy with it. No technical issues today. We had a little bit of a delay, but in general, I'm very happy with it, like the way it's set up. And I hope we're going to use it going forward. Usually, we spend the first 10 minutes just dealing with technical problems, and so it's a nice change. Okay, Rachit, if we could try to bring you on here.
Hey,
Rachit,
Alex.
you're on the show. Hello and welcome.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. If you want to maybe take a few moments to introduce yourself and also plug your club as well.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for having me on, Alex, and thank you for coming to our event this Thursday. I actually started a club at UBC to help, aspiring product managers come together and learn from each other. As a student, I found that kind of lack of community on my campus, and I decided to kind of solve that problem by creating this community. So hopefully people found it useful. Great to see familiar faces. Thank you, Edmund and Musa, for tuning in yesterday. I'm super excited to, get my resume reviewed by Alex, the great Alex. So happy to be here.
Yeah, no, thanks for putting that club. I think it's awesome. And I actually say in a lot of my videos, I say, start stuff, just like start building things that are useful, start building communities. You basically identify these pain points. Clearly, product management is this confusing thing. People don't really know exactly what it is, how to get in, whether it would be a good fit, and in general. So I think it's just hugely beneficial. And the folks that take the time to actually join some of these things, they get to basically hear what it's like. And I very much wish that I, number one, was able to do this when I was in college, and number two, that I actually took the time to do this, because you need both things. You need the demand and the supply. You need to kind of have this information available, and then also take the step to actually to learn. So thanks for putting that together. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm glad that it was helpful. So let's look at your resume. If you want to put it on, if you want to share your screen, we can take a look.
Of course. Start at the top.
Okay, I see it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Sorry, I pulled the gun a little bit too early.
Yeah. Okay, do you see it?
Yes, I see. Actually, if you can zoom in a little bit, it'll be a little bit easier for me as well. There you go. I see we're still full in the studio. We've got 10 people in the staging area still, so we'll definitely try to get through to you folks. Okay, so let's see it. We've got our education. Yeah, I always forget that you guys are still like in the middle of college. It's really ahead of the curve, like in the middle of college, going for internships and like crafting your resumes early, thinking about what you want to do after. I think that's awesome. Definitely did not do that when I was in college. So we got the product management club front and center. I think that's great. Founded a club to help students in product management. So I like the general use of bold. I am a fan of it. Make sure you use it though exactly for the stuff that you want to highlight. Right, like to focus on stuff like that really, because it does draw the eye. Like there's no getting around it. You definitely, when I skim it, that's what I'm going to read. Learn about the role, grow PM skills, make strong connections, PMs in industry, local PM. So that's good. But back to metrics, I see you have it down there. Okay, good.
Yeah.
User research, growth and launch strategy, value proposition. That's again it's still very descriptive of the stuff that you did. I like to get to the recruited a team. That's great. You built a team of 7 aspiring PMs to help with growth of the community, and then grew the club from 0 to 100 members, organized events with 100 plus attendees. Yeah, that's right. I can definitely vouch for that. That definitely happened. I would say you don't need to speak so much about it. I know you're excited about it. It is awesome, but you got to be careful that you basically have what, 4 bullets and 2 of them are 2 lines. So you're spending a lot of space on it. Maybe you want to say all those things. I don't necessarily mind it. I think it is relevant, but I'm going to be more interested in recruiting a team, building the team, getting them excited about building this thing together, the fact that you built it and found it, and the fact that you had some impact because people came, visited. Hopefully they found it useful. Attendees. So I think those metrics are good. Let's keep going. Vizier. And it's totally up to you. I don't necessarily think it's bad. I don't mind it. I like the bold, but you might be able to condense it.
Sure. Yeah, that's good advice, I think. I'll work on like making that more succinct and kind of.
Yeah, I think anytime people are kind of reluctant to cut their resume down because they think more is better, but it's actually less is better. Like if you have 1 page, that's great, but you can make it a 1 page with plenty of open space. That's even better. It's not about how much stuff you have in there. It's how impactful and relevant it is to product management.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vizier. Let's get to Vizier here. And of course, I got to remember to do this thing. There you go. Very excited about these.
No, they're super cool, these banners. Like it adds them more interactively. Yeah.
StreamYard is doing a great job, and they also simultaneously stream to multiple platforms. If you're interested in that type of thing, I think it is pretty cool.
Cool.
Vizier implemented type checking features for the in-house query languages, enable users to debug their queries more easily. Okay, so see if you can say that in 1 sentence, and also who are these users? Vizier People as a platform helps businesses make more data-driven decisions about their workforce through analytics. Okay, so type checking features for the in-house query language. So it's a little bit harder for me to parse, but I think I understand that when users of Vizier are setting up queries, they make mistakes, and you catch those mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. So like there was this initially the way it was structured was there's actually not much type checking. So like if you assign an integer to a double variable, you'll be like, what the hell is going on? It'll be or not actually a double to an integer variable. It was just like, just
got it. Error stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the problem is it took me a little bit to parse that, and I'm usually I'm not going to be, hiring managers. They're not going to be looking at these thoroughly. So they're going to skim through that. They won't understand it because it says like type checking features. Like I'm thinking already checking account. Like I don't know what I'm thinking because, because you've got that in-house query language DSL. Like I think I understand that's Vizier's query, right? But the point is that you got users. They're making mistakes when they're setting up when they're working with our systems, and now they're going to be making less mistakes, right? So figure out a way to either say that more succinctly. You basically reduce errors or like automatic error handling, something like that. That might be clunky as well. So think about it. And then the net effect is, so these are like some sort of power users. Like, is everybody that uses Vizier setting up running queries?
Yeah, so these are mostly like the IT admins. So essentially the personas are like, you have your HR business partner or your HR leader, and they want to know about their workforce, right? But they also have to set up the data, and they usually have like a specific group of people that kind of use the more admin views of the application to do all this stuff. So like it's more my team was more catering towards improving that experience for those for the people using the admin section, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's figure out a way to say that in 1 line. You also have 2 lines in there. I like that you explained like why it's important, but maybe even unroll that a little bit better. Like does that mean that they can, like, if you have this metrics, like, can they now complete more queries? Like, can they now get more stuff done? Are they saving time, frustration? What is it? Because I get it. I think I get it conceptually, but I had to think about it a lot. Figure out a way where you can say it all in 1 sentence.
Sure. Yeah, I guess like it saved definitely a lot of frustration, probably improved user experience as well. So those are some things I could probably
Good.
say.
Good. Yeah, and that makes sense. Led the design and implementation of a new database to store 100,000 actionable messages generated per month during data load jobs that helped customer support during
Yeah,
so much words.
I can definitely like trim that a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So see, the net result is you helped customer support debug issues, but that's not specific enough. Like, how did you make them faster? Kind of like we were just talking, the previous resume, where we went from 5 minutes to 8 seconds. Is like we made something from manual to real time, from sequential to real time. Maybe it's like here, like what happened? What actually happened as a result?
It's right after that.
Improved write and read performance of the old system by 5%. And how did you do it? Because actionable messages that help.
So it was.
I don't
So
get it.
basically,
Oh, it's
yeah,
like notifications. It's notifications. They told them, like you told users to try to catch something, and that's what improved performance. How does that work?
no. So okay, I think yeah. So usually I kind of spin it a little more technically. So basically, it was a SQL system, and that wasn't designed for scale. So there's no actual relation between this data. So the idea was to kind of make a NoSQL based system to improve that performance, because what was happening was, number one is it was taking a while to load those messages, and number two, it was basically there was no like deletion method. So like you were accumulating these logs that users from user research they figured out were not actually reading every day. They were reading it maybe once the job finishes, they're done with it, so we want to delete them maybe after a certain amount of time. So this whole system was able to like improve that performance, as well as set up an auto cleaning routine for it.
Okay, good. So that was complicated. You don't want to explain all that in a resume, but like auto cleaning or something like that, where you can latch onto like a thing that made it easier and make it in one line. I think reduction of 5%, performance of 5%. At the same time, it's not gigantic, but it's an improvement in performance, and across a lot of different. A lot of scale, it might be meaningful. Like as you work on bigger and bigger projects, it's going to be harder and harder to move the needle. So if the base is big, then small improvements in performance could be meaningful. So I would just say, don't go into technical detail. Don't do that. Just tell me what happened. Like, okay, so you cleaned it up, you improved the auto clean, auto deletion, something like that, or maybe whatever, however else you can explain it simply, and then the net result is performance improvement of 5%.
Sure. So maybe I can combine 0.2 and 0.4 into one.
Maybe auto. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be like end to end, end to end. Like you designed it, developed it, shipped it, right, and then you saw
exactly
that stuff, because you want to show that it's this full journey, not just like develop, but you actually the whole set. Like you had to design it, you had to deliver it, and then technical specs, all the stuff, Jira, story points, prioritize tasks. That's great. For another intern developer, unfortunately.
So,
that's basically like, it's okay to mention it if you have nothing else. You're basically saying like, okay, I can write documentation and work with Jira, but that's not really a thing that we expect everybody to be able to do that. If you wrote documentation that was later had to be approved by certain stakeholders, and then you got it approved or you moved it forward, then that makes sense. And then also I have to, maybe I'm a little bit over-indexing on impact for college students, right? Because there's only so much you can do. Like I had impact at that time. So I think that for folks that are watching now, I think it's important for me to say that it's okay early on in the career, certainly in the college stage, to say stuff about certain skill sets, like even writing for PM. It's important to be able to verbally communicate and communicate in written form. So writing specs. The problem is, like, if you just wrote it and nothing happened with it, then I don't know if you wrote it well. So if you want to demonstrate that you are able to write technical design specifications, then ideally it would be for something that went into the next stage?
Okay, so I think just to jump in there, so what I basically wrote the spec for was the design of that database. So that's went through like other engineers' approval process. We discussed it, we collaborated, we edited, and then finally that was the spec that we used to design that system.
Got it. Okay. All right. So then that might be okay to mention. Just maybe you can actually pull it up probably if it like tells the story of the rest of this stuff, then you can pull it up and prioritize tasks. Whenever you say stuff like I prioritized, but you don't say what you prioritized and why and what was the impact, it lands a little bit flat.
Okay.
Whereas you write design specifications and you can probably leave that sort of like, okay, here, I wrote design specifications. I worked in Agile. I worked with story points and sprints. That's fine. That can stand on its own, I think, in a college resume. But if you say I prioritized, but you don't say what you prioritized and what was the impact, then that falls flat.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I would probably add maybe prioritize for timely completion or something like that potentially, so the project doesn't get delayed.
That's fine. Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at EPFL in Switzerland. It's pretty cool. EdTech. Okay, I thought that's EdTech. EdTech web platform enable teachers run collaborative learning online at scale in class. What did you do on it though? So I guess if that is, you see how under Vizier, you wrote Vizier people as a platform and you kind of explained what it is. That line looks like you kind of explaining what EPFL is. If that's what it is, then just change the formatting, make it italic, drop it up top, just so that I know what it is, because it doesn't really tell me what you did. It just tells me what the business is. So if that's what that is, then that's fine. I like that actually. Sometimes because you have names that are maybe not well known, and you just do a little blurb on like what's the business to set the context, so that later on you can say I did this meaningful thing and that meaningful thing in context of what the company does, and it makes sense.
Totally. Yeah.
Redesign front-end workflows, reusable React components based on user interviews of professors. That's close. I don't necessarily need to know about React. Like, that's fine. You can use React. You can not use it. I think that's more important for an engineer, which is obviously, that could very well be what your background is. But like, you redesign the front-end workflows because those professor interviews told you that what? If you can give me like a nice takeaway, why did you redesign the front end? And what was the impact? Like when you redesign front end, as an experienced product manager, you're like, ooh, there's got to be a reason to redesign that front end. Like what did we drive after that? What happened? Did we get like better onboarding, better retention, engagement, satisfaction? What happened?
So yeah, I can dive in a bit there. So basically, this was actually in a lab. So EPFL is a university, and the project was very research oriented. So the UI was pretty much built for power users and for university professors with education degrees and PhDs.
Okay.
So the idea was to now take this and make it more user friendly and usable for all kinds of teachers, whether they're professors, whether they are high school teachers. And that was kind of the goal there. And I guess I can kind of mention that goal, but again, it feels like it's a lot to say in a line.
That's a lot to say, yes. But look at this. You redesigned front end in order to expand to a broader audience, increasing high school students and high school teachers and college teacher retention, something like that. That was the idea, right? It's great that you had that idea makes sense. And like basically, ideally, you would have data that would tell you had, when it was a college professor, they would like retain at 40% or 50%. And when it was a high school teacher, they would retain at 12%. And then you say redesign to focus on expanding the audience, and then post post redesign, you improved it to 25% retention, 30% retention, whatever. Like, I know you may not have those numbers, and if you don't, that's okay. We'll just go with the concept of what you're trying to achieve. But ideally, for everyone watching, try to get those metrics, try to get those numbers, even proxy numbers. Like, what if you don't know exactly what happened? Do you know? Well, by the way, you can also go back and like email your colleagues and just ask, because it's fair for you to ask what the exit metrics of the stuff that you worked on. This already was last year, so right? It might be interesting.
For sure.
Wrote a spec and implemented secure account system, allow users to save progress of their activities. Okay, so if you took that from a state where they cannot save their progress, meaning to a state where now they can, that's a 0 to 1 thing, which I think is important in software. You've fundamentally changed that application. So try maybe see if you can represent it a little better, where you're taking it from no saving ability to resume your work. Basically make it from a single session to now multiple sessions. That's big deal. New platform to university class 400 students, design a system to collect metrics to iterate on features. That's not specific enough. Like, let's get a little bit more specific. So again, if I think about it for a moment, I can probably unravel it, and it'll make sense. It'll be useful, but do that work for me so that I don't have to think through these things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I find that when I talk about this in interviews, it actually turns out pretty well, because I'm able to kind of describe it a lot more. So like kind of finding that balance between, having it in 1 line or 2 lines versus getting the opportunity to talk to someone. That's something, that could be improved, I guess.
Totally. That's a great point. And remember that the point of the resume is just to get you the callback, and then at the callback, you could interest them, like all this stuff. You could have this conversation, and it really comes out, and I think it becomes very powerful. But our jobs are just to put enough in that resume so that actually you get the attention and you get the interest. And I think you're on your way there. And the fact that it's a new platform for 400 students maybe is not as important as, because by itself, I don't know if it tells me much. Like, were there 10,000 students before and now there's an extra 400, or were there 40 students and now there's 400? Or is this, I don't exactly know what to do with that. Like, are you trying to demonstrate that there was a lot of students? Or are you trying to tell me that you launched a new platform? If so, what is that platform? So get clear about the message you're trying to send with that line.
I think the message was like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to finish. The design a system to collect metrics. It's like some sort of an intake in order to collect user feedback in real time or something like that. Like, again, that didn't exist and now it exists, and as a result, we could react much faster to user problems.
Yep, exactly. So when a teacher runs an activity, we had to build something that collects how many students were in that activity, how long did they watch this video for, and that really helps the teachers as well as helps us to see how engaged they were.
Yeah, sounds good. And then Department of Computer Science led 3 labs. Good, some leadership there. Groups, guided students, developed new methods to collect feedback. Successful increased engagement labs. Good. If you get more specific and like numerical about it, that would be awesome. If you can't, that's okay. If you can estimate, that's okay also. Taught technical, great. Teaching is great and useful. Learn how to explain these concepts the simplest way possible for students with different levels of experience. That's good. But if you could also explain that in the simplest way possible, in the shortest way possible, that would be great as well. Because I think that's a strong statement you're making about the fact that you can bring clarity to complicated concepts, but you're saying it in a long sentence, in 2 sentences in 1 bullet. And really, to prove that fact, you should say it in as concisely as possible. So keep working on that line. I think it's useful, but it needs a little bit more work. And then let's quickly just look through the technical project. If you could scroll down. Built, led, designed, worked, launched, designed, and implemented. So when you bring attention, you're basically bolding the verbs, which is fine sometimes, but ideally you want to also use it for impact stuff. Like when the impact that you had, for instance, you increase the number of requests per day to 10%, ensure product market fit I don't know if you want to bring attention to that, because the only way to ensure product market fit is then as a result, if you found it, because if you didn't, then I don't know that you were able to ensure it. It's like this thing, it's sort of, again, it could potentially fall flat as well. It's basically like saying nothing,
Okay.
unless the result was like this massively successful project.
Well, yeah, I mean, the idea of this project was to kind of digitize that manual system that they used to do over the phone, and now it's through an app. So basically, that helped them, manage more requests and also help the users figure out where they're. So it was a nonprofit, and the idea was that they have this unit where they have volunteers and they do counseling. So the idea was that people can find that mobile unit wherever it is in real time.
So my point is that if you're helping them look for product market fit, the only strong way to say that is looked for product market fit, led 1,000% increase in engagement, retention, conversion, monetization, acquisition, right? Like otherwise, because you're basically saying like went in for a slam dunk, did the slam dunk. Without it, it's like it's not specific enough. So that's just again, just from reading many resumes, that's one of the things that stands out. Is like you basically, whether you're saying meaningful stuff and you're backing it up with your results, or you're sometimes we just say basically descriptive words that sound cool, but don't necessarily add too much to my impression of the resume.
Okay, fair enough.
Roadmap, prioritization of tasks. Yeah, leading teams of students. That's good. Building a scalable service, collaborative design, app architecture. Again, similar situation. So it's a scalable service when that service then is used by a big volume, and we prove that it's a scalable service. Maybe you can demonstrate something else, like the fact that you collaboratively designed app architecture. Also, I think it's strong to show that you're working with other groups, and I think that is important to show. I don't know that, and you are also showing that you can build architecture, but I'm not sure that like building of a scalable service, I can really trust that. I'm not even sure exactly what you built, like what you architected. What is this app? And I don't know about it. And I don't know if the result was a lot of traffic or a lot of success, and therefore I can't tell whether you built a scalable service or not. It's a similar thing with a product market fit.
Right, fair enough. I'll try and back that up with a little more data. I mean, the hard thing with this is obviously it's like student projects, and you can't expect it to be like.
Find little successes. I think little successes. The fact that maybe a scalable service means like it can handle whatever 100 requests, or it loads within a certain reasonable time, or whatever it is. I don't exactly know what the app is. You don't have to have so much content in there. You can cut it down. You'll say more by saying less.
Gotcha.
And then you've got hackathons. I think that's really strong also. So let me scan it back up. If you can bring the resume back up for a moment, all the way to the top. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's strong. I think you got a lot of stuff in there. You're still in college, so you're doing great. Keep refining. Keep trimming it down, and I think you're going to be successful.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I mean, so far I've applied. I'm looking for like internships, so I've got like interviews and decent success.
Great.
But yeah, thanks so much for the feedback. Always looking to kind of improve and keep working on it, because there's after graduation APM positions is something I'm looking at as well. So
yeah, for sure. So I would say also make sure to put in chat the link to your stuff, so we can also make sure that folks know about your club. And maybe you can visit next events, because I thought it was actually very well put together. Like it was very well organized. I thought the moderation was good. There was no technical issues. It was. I think it was really well put together. There was a lot of like collateral, and I did not know that was a first event. It felt like a nice, smooth operation. I remember there was even music in the background playing, so that was pretty strong. I really enjoyed it. So make sure to drop some links and comments. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for coming and thank you for that awesome feedback. That's
Sure.
really, really good to hear. And yeah, thanks for the support. I will drop the links anyway. Thank you, Alex.
Let's keep in touch. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, folks, let me see if I have energy to do a few more. Maybe I should roll a die to see who I should bring on, because I don't know if I have the energy for everybody, but I do appreciate your patience for being with me here today. And hopefully you're getting value also out of the resumes that we're reviewing, because again, a lot of the stuff, it applies to everybody. Let's go ahead and run this thing as well. Remember to subscribe if you've not already. I have not had a chance to do videos on top of this live stream, but I plan to do the live streaming sessions on Saturday mornings just to help folks out with resumes. And we'll also do other videos on product management, business, and finance. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of the new content. Okay, let's bring in Alexandra. There's two Alexandras. So Alexandra Schvetz, if we could try to bring you in, if your video works. I think we spoke before. And then Alexandra Pinedo, we will take you after that. There's a lot of Alexes in chat today. Let's do it.
Hi, can you see me?
Hi, Alexandra. Yes, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thanks. First of all, thanks for doing that. That's so useful, and
Of course.
glad I was able to get in.
Yeah. Thank you for your patience. So tell us a little bit about what you're looking for.
Okay, should I share my screen now? Or?
Yeah, share your resume. I'll take a look at that as well. You can just make sure that I understand, obviously, product management is probably what you're going for, but maybe a little bit of your background and what type of roles are you looking for?
So, yeah, I'm an aspiring product manager, but I have a different type of background. So I'm not on the technical side, but I'm more in the customer service and customer support.
Okay.
And I have years of experience in different fields. So currently I'm on my career break, and the previous job was in a tech startup in Palo Alto, and it was about product analyst, QA, customer support, but it was a little bit of everything. And I realized that it was a lot about product management as well.
Right.
And currently I'm working on a side project with a small team. And I do work as a product management there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like I should kind of put more focus on that project, but it's I have a few questions how to formulate and show the impact on that one.
Okay, sounds good. That makes sense. Let's take a look at your resume. You want to share your screen and we'll put it on the
screen. Okay, should it be okay? Yeah.
Okay, it's loading up.
Can I see that?
Yep, I see it. Let me add it to the screen so we'll take a look. All right. Okay. Actually, if you can zoom in a little bit, just hit that. There you go. Okay.
Does it work?
Yep, that's perfect. I can see it. Let me just open it. Okay, so we got a summary. I think, we talked about this many times. Summary, I'm not a huge fan. Skills, I'm not a huge fan, but I would prefer them on the bottom of the resume. Let's see if let's see what's actually on the summary, because sometimes there's some stuff that could be valuable. So value-driven, customer-focused, dedicated products. Pretty much everybody that is applying for product management should be all those things. And we always want to point that out, but I find there's basically limited benefit to doing that, because since everybody sort of assumes that, we just kind of gloss past it. It might just be not valuable to spend just the high impact real estate on the page is top left, right? We want to come out of the gate strong. Successfully launched a number of software as a service, B2B2C products and features automatic HR toolkit. Okay, so there's too much specificity. I think successfully launched products is something you want to show inside the line item. So that also probably you don't need to put that on there. Driving new virtual playdate solution. Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm doing as a side project.
Yeah, that sounds great. You don't need to say it, because you will say it right there. Also, I would not recommend calling it a side project. You could just call it a project. There's just something you're building. We're all building lots of different stuff, and I think it's just sort of assumed that it's in the side, but you don't have to actually call it as such. It's just like, what is your experience? Oh, if it doesn't have a name, like you could just call it side project. If it has a name, just put obviously that name there.
But should I kind of differentiate it from the positions? Because
I see.
It's enough.
I wouldn't, but a lot of people have done it. Certainly, you can call it like projects and then professional experience. I don't like to differentiate between them because it's basically like, here's the stuff that I've done. Here's why I think it's relevant to product management, and I just go reverse chronological order. So here's the stuff I'm working on now. Let's say I'm doing consulting. I'm working at this company, and I'm running a startup. Those are things they're all going to say from this date to present. And it's okay. There's multiple things because I'm doing multiple things. That's how I would do it. But I certainly understand that people prefer sometimes to break it down into projects and like work experience.
But yeah, basically it's not a startup, it's not a company. So if people ask me, because like if I show it as a professional experience, so I cannot, it's not a company, it's just like, a few people, it's like a team of 4 or 5 people that were working on a new idea. Hopefully we'll get somewhere there.
That's like, great. How is that not a company? That's like, if it's not just officially registered in the state of, wherever that, I mean, if it's a project that you're working on, I think I would list it. If it's something that you are A, spending time on, and B, you think it's useful because you're able to demonstrate your product manager's skill set, I think it is a project that deserves its own item. And I don't even like to say maybe professional experience. I wonder if in one of my videos, I have like this template for the resume on I think create your product manager resume. I wonder if I actually say professional experience or work experience or just experience. Sometimes like that's not the important. Let's just get into it. Let's show me what aspects of the product manager's work you are doing or have been doing, so that I, as a hiring manager, can see, yep, these are the qualities that I want to see in the next candidate. And so I want to talk to them. It's no one's going to be thinking about these things. Like, is a side project, is it an actual company? It's not, it doesn't matter. Like, it's stuff that you do, you think it's relevant, then show it. If you don't think it's relevant, then it doesn't matter what you call it. Definitely.
But then I had an advice that on the LinkedIn, if it's a company, I should, link it to the company's page, and it does not exist yet. So, but it shouldn't be a big deal, right? Okay.
I mean, I would say make the page, because like if it's a thing you're actually working on, just go ahead and do it. My general advice for launching businesses and startups and products is like just put a page up. Put a page up and you just get to as close as possible, as fast as possible to the actual problem you're trying to solve. And I understand sometimes it takes a long time. I'm working also on something in the background. Sometimes I don't have as much time to dedicate as I'd like, but I definitely just try to keep moving it forward and get it as close as possible to end users at the end of the day. So I would say, yeah, you can put it on LinkedIn. And if it doesn't have a page, you should make a page if you're serious about continuing to work on it for the near future. Just make the page. It's not a lot of effort. It could be just basically a landing page. And then you have it, and then it's there. And then you just sort of it's just this self-sustaining kind of process that you basically just started when you choose to start it.
So you recommend to kind of combine it and put it into general experience, right?
Yep. I would just say, instead of professional, I would just say experience, or you don't even have to, I guess you could say professional experience or work experience, for instance, and then you just put it down there and it's present. I would also, so far, I'm not seeing extra value from the summary, because people generally tend to skip it. At least I generally tend to skip it, because we want to see basically the same summary, but in the line items. So far, you're actually using the summary, I think, as maybe it was intended. You're basically saying, like, if you don't have time to read the resume, read the summary. It'll give you the takeaway. But just remove the summary, so then they'll have to scan the resume, and they'll scan the stuff that you've identified as high impact, because you focused your attention on it. Because is your resume one page or multiple pages?
It is one page.
Perfect. Great. Okay. So 10 plus year experience in customer analytics, service, various fields, SaaS, logistics, supply chain. Again, that's great, but we can see it by just reading through or scanning through the line items. All stages of the product lifecycle from ideation to launch, growth strategies. That's good, but hopefully, again, you say that down below. In terms of the skills, empathy, again, is one of those skills that you can't list as a skill. You have to show it in something that you did that shows customer empathy. Because just saying customer empathy, it's similar to that product market fit that we are just talking about, where just show me the product market fit. Don't tell me about the product market fit. In customer empathy, don't tell me that you have it. I hope you have it. We all should have it as product managers, but tell me how you used it so that I can see that you have it. I know it's easier said than done, but those are just important things. And I think that one I can say pretty unequivocally that it does not necessarily add value if you add soft skills like that without showing how they're used.
Okay, so I guess all the other skills will be kind of pretty much also general.
Yeah, so let's move on. Product manager, a mobile social media product for facilitating kids' virtual interaction. Great. Define product strategy roadmap for mobile application for kids' virtual. Okay, so product strategy and roadmap, that is good. But of course, what we actually want is got ready for launch, launched, or signed up, this many people, or interviewed this many people to understand the pain points or something like that. Like just, and I think it's also fine to just say it like that, because you're basically pointing out that like, I'm building this thing from scratch. I'm building the strategy and the roadmap for it. That's fine as long as you have other bullets that are going to have more impact demonstrated. And that, by the way, for a startup or a side project that you're doing, it's harder to do that. I get it. Let's see what else you have there.
Yeah, that was my question, because basically we're at the stage of, working on wireframes and prototypes and all the features. So we don't have a product yet. So just the development has just started. Yeah. So it's hard to show those numbers. So maybe, you can give some advice.
Yeah. So for instance, you could design all of the wireframes for the product. Design like the roadmap, which identifies, like you said, that roadmap as demonstrated with complete set of wireframes for multiple versions or something like that, where you have like roadmap. Okay, initially we need to deliver this product on these platforms, and then later on we're going to add this feature set. So those are probably some in-between proxy stages that you can lean on in terms of, I think you have in there extensive customer research to narrow down key product features for MVP. It would be good to say this customer research within 2 weeks, I think is also that's not really necessary here. I think the point is like, okay, you're doing it. You're trying to demonstrate that you are customer focused. So that's why when you're going to build something, you're going to make sure to talk to customers to get their true needs. Okay, that's fine. It would be great to understand like how that impacted MVP development. Maybe that enabled you to actually create the MVP faster, or by removing some features that are not necessary, like maybe some insights like that you can demonstrate. Strategic competitive analysis of existing social media solutions. That's good again, and that might be all right. You might. I understand that you're. This is actually like a higher level question is, okay, there's a career break. You're building something by yourself, which I think is strong. I think that's what you want to do when you have a break. You want to demonstrate, okay, so now I'm getting back into it. It's going to take me some time to find a role. If that's where I want to go, I'm thinking about starting my own thing, and I'm building it because I want to build stuff and I'm a product manager. That makes sense. And but I would also encourage you to try to move that project forward and try to get even a few users, because then you're going to get into a new stage, because it's hard to demonstrate a product manager's work without actually having users. So there is some conceptual stuff to do, but I would encourage you to see if you can get at least to 1-2 users, some sort of MVP, like very, very raw MVP stage.
Yeah, but we're still working on that. So
Sure.
Maybe not that fast as we hope to.
It never is. That's normal. brainstorm, prioritizing functionality according to user requirements. So then you're going to have to cut down the bullet points. You don't need 6 bullet points. You might fit all that into 3 bullet points. That's fine. You're just saying the whole point that you're saying here so far that I'm seeing is that I'm building stuff.
Yeah.
And you can say that in 3 bullet points because you don't really have much else to say besides I'm building stuff. I have a team. Maybe I'm working with a team. I'm thinking about the user and I'm trying to synthesize their pain points. That's it. And just so say that as short, as succinctly as you can and move on to the next experience. Because you don't want to basically you have this thing, not much has happened with it yet, but it does demonstrate that you are entrepreneurial and you want to build stuff. So just demonstrate those things as fast as you can and then move on to the next point of demonstrating more aspects of your product manager experience.
But this is where I had most of my product manager experience because
that's fine. Unfortunately, then that's just you can't squeeze more of that than it is because you haven't launched yet. So once you launch, you're going to get more in here, but then you're going to have to find product manager type experience from your other positions. And it might be also that if you strongly want to go into product management, that's probably the route you're going to have to go. You're going to have to figure out like what is here that is product management. You can also go alternative routes. Like it all depends on obviously what you're looking for. Initially, you could do like a jumping where you go into an adjacent position for some time, and that allows you to build some more product manager aspects into your resume. Like you think of your next position as a way to improve your resume, basically. Like what are you going to do in the next position that will make your resume better? Let's quickly scan through that one. The professional experience, product analyst, software QA, Palo Alto, drove product vision, detailed product roadmap strategy. Okay, fine. That's the theme you want to talk about. That makes sense. Launched 10 critical product features. Great. Improved onboarding. Great. 20% adoption. I would just say, 20% user adoption. That's strong. Boosted user experience metrics by 15%. So maybe a little bit more specific. Like, are these satisfaction, like some sort of satisfaction ratings, or is this retention, engagement? What is this? Who are these users? So I like that you have metrics in there. The B2B2C is not as important as what did you do? It seems like you established a customer support process when there was none, and then that helped some metrics of the product. So let's just get more specific about the thing you're trying to demonstrate. You see a problem, there's no customer service, you added it or you improved it, it led to this 15% change. That's product management. Optimize testing coverage. You're going to have to get specific about that. Like what did it fix? What was the impact of it? Like the fact that something became faster, what happened as a result? How were users impacted? Product success metrics and aggregate analytical data, mixed panel. That's fine. You're saying, okay, look, I worked with data. It would be great if you could say why you worked with data. Advance the performance of A/B testing, 15% improve. Again, that's not specific, right? 15%. First of all, it should be like 15% improvement or 15% improvement or improve. Well, I guess I'm getting exhausted already myself. I think improvement is what that should say. And of UX UI, that's again not specific enough. That should be either acquisition, retention, engagement, repeat visits, whatever it is. Just improvement UX UI, you can't tell. And anybody, if I take a glance at that, I'm going to say, wait a minute, what the heck is 15% approval of user experience? That sounds pretty made up. Okay. Like you got to get more specific, right? Because maybe it did get better, but maybe you mean a particular metric that you didn't reference here.
Okay, I see. Sometimes it is made up because I needed to convert my experience more closer to product management. So
well, I mean, look, you probably did have you had some sort of improvement on it, but just get specific about like what actually happened. Like, can you think about what was the feature that was impacted and what was the end user experience? Kind of like that.
I see.
3 important products. I think it's fine. Like you already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullets. You don't need so many bullets because you've got impact. You're thinking about the user. You're changing their experience. you're working with different people, and you're supporting, you're improving user adoption. You got plenty of stuff in there, so you don't need filler. If you have filler in there, you can get rid of it.
Okay.
Let's go down a little bit more. Customer service analyst. Error.
It was in a different field, so it was more in like logistics, supply chain, and freight forwarding. So,
Okay, got it.
yeah, but it's also a customer-facing role, so that's what I'm trying to emphasize. That I worked with the customers and I feel like I know what they need usually, but
Okay. Server key content, transportation carriers, third-party logistics, growth of existing supply chain. Great. Yep. 25 increase in profits. That's great. Resolving operational challenges, of course, not specific enough. Just get a specific thing. Get a specific operational challenge and say how you resolved it, and that'll be enough.
Mhm.
Improvement of new features, order management. You don't need to capitalize stuff again for no
Okay.
reason unless it's important. Improvement of new features by 15%. So does that mean that these features were used 15% more? Think about again. Detecting major user challenges, also not good enough. It has to be a specific major user challenge.
Mhm.
And proposing more intuitive behavior, fine, but how? So what is this? Is this an onboarding step? Like, are you automating some process? Get more specific. And I think it's good. And customer service, let's just quickly look. You shouldn't have too many bullets there. It sounds like there's just a few. Top-notch customer service. So it's up to you if you want to actually include that. I think a couple of bullets is fine. Top-notch customer service is not good because you got to get specific.
Mhm.
Did you get like 98% satisfaction? Or is there some specifics that you can say of what actually evaluated you as a top person for dealing with customers?
Mhm.
Coordinated market activities, increasing business revenue by 20%, has to be more specific or leave it out.
Mhm.
Marketing is important for product management. It is also, by the way, and I think it's a good point to call out. Coordinated marketing activities, customer product. Yeah, think about it. What marketing activities? Maybe if you can get more specific about these marketing activities, you can actually make a case where I would just be more confident that you actually led an increase in this business revenue. So think about how you could do that.
Mhm.
And doubled customer acquisition, extensive market research. Maybe I would say it's also for experience that is more than a few years away. You don't have to do a lot of bullets. And I think you're kind of following this as like less bullets as you go down. So think if it helps tell the story of the product manager, like if there's some aspect that you haven't told already. For instance, you're talking about market research and data analysis. If you've already mentioned it, you don't need to mention it again.
Mhm.
I would think. And then education, I think, is also good. Put it at the bottom, and then over there, I would put the skills, and I would get rid of the summary, and tighten it up. And it's actually, I think it's much better than you think it is. I don't know if you've already tried to apply and kind of gotten results, but I think if you make those changes we talked about, I think you'd be surprised, because I think you do have aspects of product management, even though that wasn't your sort of official role, and I think you've been able to tease them out of your experience, and it does come through.
Mm-hmm. Do you think I should also try go with those associate product managers positions? Because like I'm open to any opportunities. I just want to break into product.
Yeah. That's an interesting question. I think yeah, you certainly could. I think it could be a good way, like you said, to basically put product manager at a company in your resume. I think the way you're doing it right now is also fine. I think associate product managers could be something you consider, given the career break and you want to basically take an opportunity to get back in there. I think so. I think see what the response might be. If that's the case, though, if you do go for associate product manager, you probably don't need your the customer service background as well, because basically just the stuff that's relevant to the product manager. So you could try to adjust the resumes depending on whether you go for a more senior position or a more junior position.
Okay, I see. Also, a question: what do you think about the cover letter and slide? Do you think they are important? Just
Yeah. Great question. Yes, haven't heard about cover letters in a while. My stance on cover letters is I don't have time really to read them, and I didn't have time to write them when I was applying for jobs. When I think about jobs, however, you probably will stand out if you write cover letters, but
Okay.
it's just a lot of effort, and I would probably say that applying to more jobs or tweaking the resume and getting it better is a better investment of time from my perspective. But also, you can also tailor it depending on the position. If it's like a small startup, then a cover letter might make a big difference because then they might read it. If it's a big company, you don't need a cover letter because they have a ton of resumes. So think about it from their perspective, from the person who's getting your resume. Are they getting a ton of resumes? If so, cover letter won't make a difference. Are they getting a few resumes? Then it might make a difference because but please make it short, like a paragraph or two. If I see big cover letters, I probably won't be able to read it even if I want to. But a short one, if I only have 5, 10, 20 candidates, maybe I'll read that and it'll jump out. I would say what's more important than cover letters is after you have a conversation with someone, you actually follow up and say, thank you for the conversation. This is why I think I was a good fit. I think that one is useful and could be very powerful.
Okay, I see. Yeah, thank you so much. I will kind of work on my resume based on all your comments, and yeah, hopefully I can polish it.
Good. That sounds good, Alexandra. Yeah, keep me updated. Let me know how you're doing.
So much appreciate it a lot.
My pleasure. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, Alexandra, we're probably going to, I know we only have a few people left, but I think I'm running out of time here rapidly. So, actually, Benson, we might have already done. So, Josh, maybe we could meet next week, next Saturday morning. But in the meantime, if I didn't get to you, then feel free to just email me your resume with your top questions, and I'll get to you. And Alexandra, we're going to bring you on right after I roll this thing. And just remind everybody to, of course, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And also, I wanted to say that I am going to be doing a few different things. So if you want to get involved in a few of these projects that I'm putting together, please let me know. First of all, make sure you're subscribed at alexruchevsky.com for my newsletter so I can actually keep in touch with you and tell you about all these things that we're building. Also, we're going to have we're doing another webinar with John Marty and Tim Salau. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be tonight, and hopefully we're going to see if we can record it and put it at least eventually on YouTube. So if you don't catch it tonight, then you'll see it on future videos. And then I want to do a program where we take a few people and we take them all the way through the process of actually improving the resume, then thinking about how to apply for which companies, and then actually getting in touch with those recruiters and maybe preparing for the interview and just like doing that whole thing. And so if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe, sign up for the newsletter, and then let me know that you're interested in this so that I'll put you on the list. Okay, Alexandra, let me bring you in. Thank you very much for your patience. Welcome to the show. How are you? Oh, you're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, am I good now?
Yes, you are. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Alex, I'm Lex. And just a little bit about myself. I'm an incoming junior at USC, and my major is business administration, and minor is computer science. I definitely hope to go into product management after graduation, and I'm so excited to be here and grateful. Thank you.
Awesome. That's great. And I think that combination, as I said earlier, I think business and computer science, I think there's an awesome combination and definitely a great fit for product management. Of course, number one thing that I actually didn't mention today is that you are actually excited about product management. Like if you're thinking about going into it, you definitely have to make sure that you kind of like it. There's plenty of resources now. We're doing these conversations and plenty of videos where you can see, okay, what is life actually like as a product manager for startups or for big tech companies, and you get a feel for it and you feel like, okay, is this something for me or not? So it's great to know that's for you. Let's take a look at your resume. And it sounds like you're still well in your college career, so you're going for internships probably.
Yes, applying
right now. Okay, so share your resume if you could. Share your screen. We'll put it on the screen. We'll take a look.
One second.
And let me just, I think there was a question. Oh, Musa asked a question of how technical should a resume be at the end of the day? Yeah, for a product manager, if you're going for a generalist product manager, it does not need to be very technical. You're showing, especially if you're early on in the career, you're showing a lot of the times those soft skills. We lost Alexandra. Hope she's going to be back. That was our first technical difficulty today. So Musa, and I think that was apparent kind of in your resume, is that a lot of the technical aspects we will kind of skip through when we're looking at the resume for an early career generalist PM. But if you're going for a technical product manager, it kind of goes the other way. And if you're going for a particular domain knowledge, then again, it goes the other way. So if you're going for that, you're going to need to add technical details, and that's actually going to be helpful. Okay. There's Alexandra. I think she's back. Let me add her. And you with us?
Yes.
Okay. And did you say you go by Lex?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That's going to be also easier for us to distinguish between all the Alexes. Okay, Lex, sounds good. Let's try to share. It looks like it's working for you now. Maybe you can put the resume on the screen.
Can you see everything?
I can see that it is. I think you're basically at the same page on the screen, so you got to switch to the actual resume.
Oh, okay, I see.
By the way, what happened? Did your browser crash or something?
No, so it was actually a problem with my settings. It said, "Oh, it cannot connect until you exit the chat." And I was like, "Okay." So we have that.
Yeah, you right now you're sharing. You're still sharing the same tab, so you got to switch to different tabs. Or I don't know if you're sharing the screen, then you got to put the resume on the screen.
Oh, okay, I see. So is that better?
Meanwhile, I'm going to put while Lex is messing around with her settings. Rachid, thanks for an awesome review. Learned a lot. You want to check out our club? Feel free to take a look at our club page on Facebook, UBC Product Management Club. Yep, you should definitely do that if you're interested. They definitely had great events, and I had a great time hanging out with them. Lex, any luck?
Any luck? I'm having a hard time.
No.
Like, you can see me right now, right?
I can see you. Yep, and I can if I share what you're sharing, you're just gonna basically show our page again.
Okay.
So you need to. Are you gonna show us like a PDF or a Google Doc?
I have a PDF and a Google Doc, but I'm just trying to figure out how.
So you just put it right on your screen, and let's see if I can see it.
Okay. On my screen. So I'm going to open it, expand it. And yeah, I can see my full resume right now.
Oh, you can see it, but I can't see it. Okay, so maybe try to reshare. Let's do this, Lex. Let me actually take Josh because he's patiently sitting here, and I'll be able to see when you're going to put your resume on properly share. So try different things, like try to share, reshare, and then we'll bring you back. Just
okay. I'm so sorry about that, Alex.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So just try to make that work. And Josh, we're going to bring you on here. Hello.
Hey. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Way to stay patient.
Yes.
Let's try to do a quick, maybe a little introduction for everyone watching.
Yeah. So I am currently a master's student. I am pursuing management information systems from Texas A&M University. I have a bachelor's in information technology. So this is where, the information technology and business merge in MIS. I have a previous 2 years work experience at a management consulting firm, and that is where I developed my interest towards data and management domains. And those are the two domains which I'm focusing on to develop my career in. So yeah, I have been looking through your videos and just wanted to get in touch with you and have my resume reviewed for the product management role.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you very much for your patience. I know it's been a while here. So let's take a look. If you can share your screen, we can take a look at your resume.
Yes. Share my entire screen.
And Lex, also, if you can, meanwhile, try to see if it lets you share the screen, so we can get that working. Okay, yeah. So Josh, I see it's working. Let's take a look.
Yes. So just to start. Can you see it properly? Like,
I can see it. Yep.
awesome.
Sounds good. All right. We got masters, bachelors looking good. And subjects. So, teaching assistant. Okay. So this is, you're saying, okay, I'm teaching this stuff, 1,200 students. Yeah, that's great. On the concepts of Excel and HTML access, that I'm not sure, like what is this? What is this actual course?
So, so the 210 course, which is their Fundamentals of Information Systems, they have these Microsoft Excel, HTML, and Access as their main topics for the students, and they have assignments and concepts of these Excel, like practical concepts to be taught in these 3 tools. So I am teaching those to the students in this subject, and concepts of supply chain management and where you use information technology for supply chain management is what I teach in the supply chain portion.
Yeah, that's. Sorry to interrupt, Judge, but it's a lot of stuff. Like I first of all, I'm not going to really understand that, and I think the meaningful thing from product management perspective is that you designed a syllabi and you mentored 1,200 students. Just leave that, get rid of the other stuff, I would say, because it doesn't really add a lot of value. Because whatever you don't even need to tell them like what you were teaching, like general software concepts or whatever. Then student assistant, data analyst conducted ETL on raw attendance, visualized data. What was the point? Resolve 19 major errors. Okay. Again, I'm trying to learn stuff as I talk to you good folks, but I don't know how valuable that is. Like if you resolve 19 major errors in dashboards, that sounds pretty good. I think. And that's the present. Okay. So that makes sense. Conceptualized, crafted, interactive Tableau. Okay. That's good. Tableau usage for universal website to display metrics related to students' data, amplified stickiness and user engagement 67%. Yeah, I wonder how you did that. Who are websites users here? Are they teachers?
So you can say potential students who are looking to apply at the Texas A&M University. So what the accountability matrix basically means that they look at the demographics data, they look at how many years a student takes to maybe complete a particular degree. So there are different various accountability metrics which they display on the dashboards, and a potential student can look at them and decide or compare different universities to see which can be a good choice for them.
Yeah, that sounds good. You got to figure out a way to say that faster and so that I actually understand it rather than those 2 lines. Because I see the website stickiness and engagement by 67%. That's great, but I want to understand, okay, those are prospective students. That's great. So you could say prospective students increased engagement by 67%. And an engagement, I guess, is like them moving on to the next step of the process. But just make sure that I understand that it's actually prospective students and how you did it, because I'm a little bit still confused about how you actually, I guess you use these interactive dashboards to make it more interesting for prospective students. You got to figure out a way to say that without saying a lot of stuff and just getting your point across that you're thinking about the students, you're thinking about moving them down the funnel. This is how you're doing it. Sounds good.
Okay. I will rephrase this one. Before we move on to the next one, I just had a question about this sentence. Should I be actually putting it over here or should I not?
Well, the sentence up top of the experience, right?
Yes. So no, this one. So the summer 2020 internship opportunities were rescinded by. So I had like internship opportunities from these 2 companies, but they were like rescinded because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh yeah, you don't.
So should I have this?
I see. You had. Oh man, you had opportunities from Google that were rescinded because of COVID.
Yeah. I had. In fact, I had a technical program manager intern opportunity at Google.
Wow, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. That's okay. You'll get through it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I see you got strong, obviously strong resume. I see a bunch of metrics already down there. So I think you'll be fine. I don't know. You could say that actually, because that's completely out of you. I don't have a strong stance on this one because you had those offers, but they were rescinded. I actually missed that. Like I even missed that line. I just went straight to the. So I think it's fine. It's completely out of your hands, and I think it does demonstrate that you were selected for these internships.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd try it this way, leave it in there, and then see if you want to try to make like an A/B test at some point and do 40 applications without it.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, let's scan through ZS Associates here. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of double line bullet points. Spearhead a 5-member association team, 3 different projects, effective project plan. Oh my God, so much stuff you did. Consulted new clients in revamping day-to-day operations. Okay, a lot of stuff, but I don't know what you actually did. I see that you worked with a big team on multiple projects, and you basically try to be like, I did stuff. So either because you're a student, I think it's totally okay to do it, to say about like some of these things that you did, but just like I said to everybody else today, we still want to focus on impact and doing meaningful stuff. But because we're students, it's okay for us to say some of the stuff that we did, maybe that didn't have any like direct impact and even proxy impact. So I think it's fine. Maybe just make those shorter and not as frequent. And I think I see already you have a lot of impact in the bullet points below. So maybe you can lead with those.
Okay.
$200 million. What's happening over there? Change management operation for incentive compensation products exceeding $200 million. So I don't know what you're capitalizing. Also stuff that like random stuff you're capitalizing. Maybe there's reason for it. Maybe there's not. But I'm confused about the 200 million, like where it comes from. Clarify it. Like that's a big number. You wanna explain what your relation to this number is and what this number has to do with anything. Also, real quick, US dollar, like why are you saying US dollar as opposed to just dollar?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, good. That makes me.
So I actually just wanted to show how big those projects were in terms of contract or whatever terms they had with the company. So that is how I wanted to display it, but I don't think it's coming exactly as it should come out to be. What my intention is towards displaying that, maybe.
Yeah, more clarity around this 200 million. I like it. I like big numbers, certainly. And it does catch attention. That's what you want. But just explain, make sure that you were actually involved in this $200 million and explain what your involvement is.
Okay. Yeah.
Because sometimes, if you list big numbers, like 200 million, I mean, that's really big. So if we list big numbers, but then it turns out like we didn't really do anything, we're involved in a meaningful way, or also like these numbers are, they're like the overall impact of this project, but we worked on this little feature. So you want to qualify that so that you're not setting up the reader with a sense of that they were being deceived intentionally or unintentionally. So sometimes I'll take like small impact and I'll more readily believe that, okay, this person was involved in this. But sometimes it's totally okay and appropriate to say big numbers, because sometimes we're involved. And if we say like we're a small piece of this puzzle, but the big thing is 200 million, that's also okay.
Yeah.
You just qualify it.
Okay.
Okay, incentive compensation system. This incentive compensation system. You don't want to talk again. You don't want to repeat. Generally, like your resume should not have repetition almost at all. Historical real-time data to collect accurate quarterly performance of clients, 5,000 sales first. Okay, what you're saying there is that you did analysis, but you also. I'm confused. You're saying a lot of things in one bullet. Try to say one thing per bullet. Choose the thing that you want to say and then get rid of everything else. Or, I mean, when you're drafting it, like, for instance, when you're working with this, you can say, okay, I'm trying to tell this story. Let me copy and paste to another document, all this other stuff, so that you don't feel like you lost it. It's there. And then you can go and process it and see, okay, what of that did I actually want to bring back into the resume?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
This honestly, it just brings me back to many years ago. A good friend of mine, Josh, was helping me work on my resume many, many years ago. I just remembered it because he actually just came in the chat. And some of these things I think he was telling me as well, like get rid of the extra stuff, make sure you're telling the story and like all this stuff. So Josh, thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate it if you're still watching. All right, let's keep going here. 100% quality. Again, quality, you don't need to capitalize quality. I don't know what you're trying to say when you capitalize quality, right? It makes me confused. Like, are you saying, there you go, that's much better. For a continuous period of 14 months. Oh, so there's no errors.
No error. Yes, no
for
error.
14 months. Yeah. So
Yes.
say that in one line, because that's strong, right? Like, this is what you worked on, achieved 100% error free for 14 continuous months. I think that's great. It's great.
Okay.
70% robotic process automation, reduced turnaround time, client developers. Okay, a little bit more clear. I don't know what this robotic process automation is. And rather than explaining it to me, make me understand it with one line of just saying, like, automated processes reduced manual work by 70%, something like that.
Okay.
And then whose time did you save, and ultimately what impact did it have?
Okay. So actually over here, robotic process automation is a term which I wanted to put in because a couple of job postings had those where you should have experience in robotic process automations. So it was a term which I wanted to put in, and which is why I framed the sentence in this manner.
Wow. Okay, that's very sophisticated. I mean, sure, yeah. If there's a reason for it, of course. Yeah, those type of specifics, you obviously want to use your own common sense for that, for sure. 4,000 sales reps. What happened with those 4,000 sales reps? You designed their dashboards. Okay. Enhance their experience and engagement. So don't say, just like in the previous resume, don't say enhance user experience by X, because I don't know what that means. You can only enhance either satisfaction, retention, engagement, multiple visits, whatever, but you can't enhance user experience because that's not a thing that you can measure unless you measure it in specific metrics like CSAT or whatever. But user experience, that's like this mythical thing that you can't put a number on.
So actually over here, we took a survey amongst the representatives to after we like had the new dashboards out there for them, we took a survey for them on how they are liking it and how is it as compared to the previous dashboards which they had, and which is where we received like a 65% or 64% positive response on these new dashboards. So that is how I wanted to this is why I wanted to write user experience over there.
That's fair. So then that's a survey. So that's like customer satisfaction, customers evaluation of the user experience.
Okay.
Then that's okay. Like via surveys, right? Or you could just say user experience in parentheses via survey, customer surveys, something like that. Mentor for new employees, coach 75 new employees. That's strong. I would put that higher up, that bullet.
Okay.
Again, soft skills, right? The fact that you just interacted with so many people and helped onboard them, I think is powerful for a product manager. Okay, leadership, great. You got different stuff. 7 members, marketing events, sounds good. Creatives, team of 5 members. 11 successful events. 2 state level competitions. Increased committee size by 33.33%. So did you add 1? You had 3 and you added 1. Now it was 4?
No, it was actually like 20 and then a 33% increase.
20 to 30. Okay.
So should I put in numbers actually over there? Like,
yeah, I think you can say, I mean, sometimes you want to use percentages to make a point, but otherwise, I think committee size from 20 to 30. Also, by the way, how is it better that the committee size went up from 20 to 30? Why is that better?
Okay, so I mean, we were able to do more events in the next semester.
Okay, so that's just make sure that I understand, because when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, increase committee size. Maybe committee is just the wrong word for it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but like there should be a benefit. Just increasing the size of something like that. I don't know that there's an intrinsic benefit. So think about that.
Okay.
A ton of skills. I guess you're trying to catch like all of these, what are they called? Those filters, the skill filters.
Yeah.
I think it's good. You got publications, accomplishments, first place. I would even say you could even, if you want, move the accomplishments into projects or into leadership or activities. It's into it. Although it's fine as it is, it's just very condensed, and so it's very hard to read as this block. So if there's points there that you really want to highlight, they're not going to come through unless I read that whole thing, which in a first read through, I probably won't. And then projects you may want to bring up and lower skills as last. But I think it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Get more specific. Get rid of fluff. Get rid of extra stuff, and I think it's going to be very good.
Yeah.
Any questions, Josh?
No, I think this was great. Thank you so much. This was like I have been looking through all of the videos and just waiting to have a personal interaction with you.
Great. No, I'm so glad.
I mean, thank you so much for having so many resources out there for students like us who are just looking to enter into a stream where actually there are not many resources.
Yeah.
To So I think
awesome.
Thank you so much for that.
That means a lot. I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you very much. Keep me updated.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Take care. Okay, Lex, let me bring you back in. Look at this. You figured it out.
Yes.
Awesome. Sweet. Okay, let's take a look, and we'll try to go fast here because we got to wrap it up for today. But I think we got to everybody, which I'm very happy about. Okay, so first we got education. You got your minor is computer science. Bring it back because it's a little confusing as it is now. You got your bachelor's on the left, but then your minor's on the right. So maybe just bring it to the left. And then your relevant coursework, as I always say with relevant coursework, if it actually tells the product management story better, then it's okay to leave it. If it does not, then you can put it at the bottom or omit it entirely. So think about that. Awards, that's good. President's Honor Roll, great. Black History Month speech contest finalist, okay. And 1 for scholarships, great. Okay. So you still got 2 years left. You've already got this experience. Okay. All right, here we go. Marketing sales representative. Okay, so initiate a team collaboration, 9 interns, organizing meeting times, create a platform where team can exchange ideas. That's good. Get that. So stuff that's almost on one line, go ahead and try to get it into one line because again, less is more. Ask yourself, what's the message that I want to deliver with each line? And it should be only one thing. Like here, I want to tell a story about how I encourage collaboration or how I collaborate successfully. How do I best tell that story? Organizing meeting times, creating a platform. Maybe that is a good way to tell that story, but just make sure you ask yourself that question as you go through it. Client acquisition searches, analyzing potential investors, matching professional profiles to company goals. Okay, it's advanced wealth. So client acquisition searches, I think this would be a good place to put in some numbers wherein like the end result of this client acquisition search would be like you found a lead or you contacted a lead or whatever you did. Ideally, there would be a little bit of metrics beyond this. Cold calls to potential clients, good. Again, facilitate transaction of 10,000 units of product. 10,000. Now I want to know what these 10,000 units of product are. Like, actually, what are they? Like, what is this thing that you're selling?
No, yes. So, as a part of the, I guess, mentorship program, basically, he gave us a task of course, marketing client acquisition and also helping facilitate transactions of PPE, so personal protective equipment. He was building a platform, and then he had us working alongside with him, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So you were able to sell 10,000. What does that mean? Facilitate transaction.
Mm-hmm. So facilitate. It's really connecting the buyers and sellers, and kind of exactly like the middleman.
Okay. So you might want to say that. Connecting buyers and sellers. I see what you're saying. I mean, that does make sense. Facilitating transactions. So just a little unclear. And also, it would be great if you can put it in revenue, like in dollar, maybe not revenue, but like cash flow or whatever it is. Like if there was a transaction for 10,000 units of something, if that was $10 per unit, that's $100,000. If it was 100, that's $1 million. So I'd rather put it in dollars. That way we can kind of all understand it because 10,000 units, I guess you're saying that due to my self-starting sort of these contacts, these cold calls, I was able to drive a lot of big volume, which maybe is strong. Think about putting it in revenue in dollar format. Might be easier to consume, but actually, as it is, 10,000 units, maybe 10,000 sales, or it probably it's not 10,000 sales, however much is the average sale. So like this many transactions, facilitate this many transactions, I think would be a little bit stronger than like this many units of product, because that becomes just a little bit opaque. Like I don't exactly know what that means, and I don't know if I can therefore just treat it as like a safe takeaway from this resume.
Okay.
So maybe like number of transactions facilitated via your cold calls, your contact, which directly led to these things. If you can tie it to that, I think that would be strong. Collected relevant financial social media content, raised company awareness. We need metrics there. Otherwise, I don't know if you did it or not, or how much you did it. And just the fact that even if they're not particularly powerful metrics, just the fact that you're tracking metrics already shows you're thinking like a product manager, because everything you do has to be like impact oriented, and you got to have success metrics, because otherwise you don't know whether what you did is meaningful or not. And let's keep going. Exporting goods, spearheading efforts to promote store credit card loyalty program resulting in boost. Good, but rather than spearheading the effort, I would rather know about how you promoted it. Maybe rather than how, like what were these efforts? I guess you could just say the efforts are, we're promoting store credit card and loyalty programs. What was the boost in returning customers? Can you get a little bit closer to what was your personal involvement and what was the end result? And sometimes we don't know these things, and you can estimate or you can find out from other colleagues, from past colleagues. But you want to know what impact you personally drove with that one and what you actually did, because spearheading effort, I don't exactly know what that means. Like maybe you're supporting it. If you can think of like an initiative and you can get specific about it, it would be more powerful. But I understand, like, obviously these are very early experiences, and just getting anything out of it that has anything to do with product management, I think is already going to be a win. Okay, so we have stuff like receptionist, organizational system enhancing visual presentation. If you can't think of a strong overlap with product management, you can also omit it, because you're trying to tell an overall story. So you might not even list that, right? I understand you demonstrate you're prolific and you're kind of involved in a lot of stuff. That's awesome. But you want to tell the story of, okay, I'm trying to go for leadership, for building stuff, for collaborating, for thinking strategically, for trying to have impact. And then I don't think you need a receptionist, unless you can think of something there that you did that was, obviously it's a technology center, so maybe there was something in there that was relevant, maybe not. Leadership, great. You got founder, director of recruitment of presenters, good. Overseeing 2020 event, marketing average of 475% increase in expected attendance. Okay, so it would be great if it was not expected attendance, but actual attendance, because it is in the past. Okay. So it can't, unless this event has not taken place yet.
No, yeah.
Okay, so then that's already attendance. Budget club, great. Honor Society, lead fundraiser, great. Yeah, that's all strong stuff. So I would leave it on there. So I think it's looking good. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter. Think about the story you want to tell. Tell one aspect of your product management experience or relevant experience per line. And other than that, I think it looks good.
Thank you. I just had one question.
Sure.
I guess in the past, I guess you can say examples. A lot of people, they were going, from like engineering backgrounds, to PM. Versus mine, really, it's kind of the opposite. And I feel like that's a lot of people's position who are going into non-technical roles in technology. So I guess my question is, as a student or as just someone who's maybe transitioning careers, I guess you can say, what are some like good opportunities, for example, or like I'm not sure, or I'm working on like a data analyst with like Python like certification, just making sure I have those hard skills.
Yes.
What do you, or what have you seen, or what do you encourage? for people?
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a great start. So I have a video where I talk about like the top 10 technical skills that a PM should have. And a lot of folks that are coming in from outside of tech should definitely pick up these things. A lot of it is math, analytics, data analytics, statistics, understanding how to work with SQL, understanding how just computers work, internet technologies work, understanding a little bit about coding. Don't have to code, but you have to understand the concepts. It's very helpful to understand the concepts of like, client server and a little bit about architecture of software. And I think you can learn about it just by, just being on YouTube, but you can certainly enroll in some relevant coursework on some of these online education platforms. And I think it's great. And you should just treat that as an always on thing that you're doing. It's like one of your workflows. You're not hyper investing into it, but slowly you're picking up more and more skills. Check out that video. I will try to link it in the description later, but you can find it just in my channel. If you look for tech topics for product manager or something like that, you'll find it. And that's really like the main stuff that you should know. And I think you're on your way there. And it's totally normal. A lot of folks come into product management from outside of tech, and I think it's absolutely doable.
Thank you. No, yeah, thank you. I learned so much. And also, I'm extremely interested in the program you're, what was it? The, I guess, program you're trying to push.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking of putting together now. It's just this basically like all the way from, from resume to potentially hiring like a job. I still haven't figured out the format, but yeah, I'll definitely add you to the list. You can shoot me an email if you're on my mailing list, then you can just reply to that and shoot me an email. Let me know you're interested, and I'll add you to the list for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, Alex, thanks for stopping by.
Thank
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, I think we're going to have to stop. We're going to have to stop here. Benson, did I already have you? Did I already look at your resume? I don't know if I haven't. Raise your hand if you want to come on the show and speak briefly. Okay, let me add you on for a second. So did you, hi, Benson. Sorry, did we get a chance to speak earlier today, or we did not?
We
did not. Okay. I also can't hear you for some reason. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so your audio is kind of sluggish, unfortunately. So maybe you can email me and we can chat separately, and I'll take a look at your resume. Yeah, unfortunately, I gotta cut you because your microphone is for some reason not working. But other than that, we had pretty good technical run today. But Benson, so if you're still hearing this, make sure to email me and let me know what questions you have. I'll take a look at your resume offline and I'll respond because I really appreciate your patience. And I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to chat. Also, we can chat next Saturday. Hopefully, I'll be able to still be here next Saturday, 8 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time. So thanks everybody for watching. If you have not already, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to make sure you stay updated on all the latest content. And of course, hit the like button if you want to see more content like this, if you find these sessions valuable. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.